Come on here. I'm back again with the PokeFlipz podcast, episode number 45. Joined by my usual co-host, Catch 'em All Collectibles, Dan. How we doing today, Dan?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Excited for this episode. Big 4-5. On here. Oh boy. With the There we go. Classic intro.
I just saw it come up on mine, and I'm like, oh no, I thought I was muted. That was Nick. Blame Nick. That wasn't me. But yeah, how's it going, everyone? See a few people hanging out in chat. Spotify. Spotify is a thing that we've had multiple people reach out to us about. I'm the one slacking on that. That's my job. Not an excuse, but part of the reason that it's more difficult now, we used to record on Zoom. It would automatically spit out an audio thing, and we would upload, not live. Like, we would do it all the same night, and it would go live together. When we do it live on YouTube, I need to manually rip the audio from it. I need to upload it. Spotify will be like a day behind, but I will get back to doing Spotify. This episode will not go to Spotify tomorrow, but in the next 2 weeks, I will get fully caught up. In every episode, starting with next episode, we'll go back to being live the same week at least. The YouTube stream goes up.
And then we're also going to be getting back into timestamps. I know we've gotten a bunch of questions about timestamps, so going forward, I'm going to keep track of that. So that's what I'm doing today. As we go through each question, I'm going to write down the time, and then after the stream ends, I'll go back and edit the description with timestamps. So anyone not watching it live, you can skip around with the different timestamps.
And one thing that like I find really valuable with all the long form content I make and consume, I might make a short about this at some point. But if you click the three dots, if you're on desktop and you click the three dots to the bottom right, not right now because we're live, but if you're watching a long video, you can click the three dots and you can show transcript. That is so useful. Like when I think back to a live stream, oh, PK was talking about X, Y, or Z, or James and Cam were talking about CGC, or they were talking about Umbreon. You can actually you can show transcript, and then you can Control F search the entire, it's obviously a computerized transcript, so it's not perfect with everything, but you can Control F search random topics from like a 2, 3, or 10-hour live stream. It's actually really, really good. Because timestamps won't be perfect. The way live streams work, the way these long form podcasts work, sometimes we go from topic to topic in like 60 seconds, and Nick's not going to put a timestamp for every single one of those. So timestamps will be included, but they won't be perfect. They won't be necessarily complete, but they'll be whatever he can come up with.
Yes, exactly. I actually didn't even know that about the three dot thing. That's interesting.
The show transcript thing is like, it's a lifesaver sometimes. When I put my own timestamps in, I utilize that from time to time. Then having the overlaid messages on the screen, that really helps too. If you're looking for a particular question, you can just see where it's shown on the screen. But I guess that's some of the administrative things we're talking about that we're gonna get back to, that we've been slacking on. So apologies for that. Anyone that was looking for those and couldn't find them, they'll be back soon. And then next episode,
unlike Dan, I'm not going to go back and add timestamps to the ones
I was just gonna say that.
I'm very lazy.
That would be a lot of work. Yeah, that's tough. And they've already gotten 95% of the views they're ever gonna get to, just the way that works. Maybe on Spotify we'll get some new listens that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise. But I do want to mention too, before we start getting into the questions from last episode, we do have a handful of those. Retrospecs. Some people might know him, some people might not know him, but Retrospecs is a guy in the community, really knowledgeable guy. Another Nick. So we'll get another Nick on here in 2 weeks. We aren't going to do the 15th, so it won't be Thursday, but we're going to do the 14th, I believe. I need to confirm that as we get closer. We'll definitely post about it ahead of time, but it should be December 14th for a live stream with Retrospecs. So that'll be
It'll be
fun.
fun. Looking forward to it.
I'm just reading some of the live comments.
It's sponsored by Harry's.
I guess before we get into the last episode, monetization is actually pending, right? I saw it's kind of weird because it's like a shared channel. Nick and I each own our own channels that are monetized. I think you mentioned, Nick, that you have to do it like through your same AdSense account.
Yeah, it should be. I haven't looked on this channel in a while, but I did it a few days ago, and it said YouTube was reviewing it. I'd imagine they're done reviewing it, but who knows?
I looked last night, and it was still under review. So we must be some questionable characters. They must be giving it a real good thought. They haven't decided yet, but we're pending review. We might not make it though. I'm a little shady looking with this beard, I think. Maybe I don't look as trustworthy now.
You kind of look like a terrorist.
I don't look quite as trustworthy. But yeah, with that, we'll hop into the questions from last week or 2 weeks ago. So Brandon asks, any tips on grading 10s more consistently with PSA? I've graded around 30 to 40 vintage Japanese with PSA recently and received almost all 9s and 2 10s. Centering is solid and there's no visible wear on most of the 9s I graded. Am I missing something? Yes, I would say. I mean, 9s are generally 9s for a reason. Usually they spot something. The big thing that I get caught up with sometimes, a lot of 10s have issues too, though. Like, 10s are not perfect cards. 10s are allowed to have some minor imperfections. And I'm not going to get into that whole thing, but like, to me, there's a big overlap between 9 and 10. But if a card gets a 9, it has an imperfection somewhere. So whether that's a surface issue that you're not seeing, slight surface scratches that you're not seeing, look under intense light. Whitening is pretty evident on the backs. Whitening is more evident on English cards than Japanese generally, just due to the blue borders. White really shows up a lot better. But yeah, I mean, the biggest things are like corners and edges. Usually it shows on the back more, whitening. Look in the holo for fine scratches. Look on the surface for fine scratches. But that's about it. Like, if you're getting all these 9s and you think they're like absolutely perfect cards, I think you're just overlooking something.
Yeah, I would pretty much agree. PSA definitely changed their grading scale to get a little tougher, in my opinion. So that could be part of it. If you haven't submitted too many cards recently in the past year or so, and you're used to their old standards, that could be part of it. But another thing I was going to say is the lighting is definitely key. Make sure you get like bright LED lights. Don't just use like fluorescent lights or just like regular light bulbs or anything like that. LED lights work best. But yeah, it's most likely something that you're probably missing, unfortunately. It could, if on occasion, it could obviously be PSA, just the grader just having a bad day, not liking life that day and just downgrading everything. But for the most part, PSA is fairly consistent, and it's most likely something that's missing, that you're missing on the card.
Yeah, I think. I mean, some people are of the opinion that 10s are just perfect cards, and if you see one dot of white, it's an automatic 9. Some graders probably do. Some graders probably do. But overall, like 10s are allowed to have a couple little things, and 9s are usually a couple more things than that. If you go, like, you can actually read on PSA's website what they define it as. I don't think they go by that too closely though, because it's pretty crazy what they call the gem mint and the mint grades, the way they describe them. But I think we covered that one. Oh,
yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I just heard Poenga $15 special is back. Are you serious?
Oh, you didn't know that?
I literally just last night did a submission at $18 a card for 200 cards, and I just mailed them off this morning.
Mertz, yeah, I was in a voice chat in Discord earlier today with Mertz, and I think he only did 25 cards, but he's like, right when it was, I mean, it's December 1st, so like, it's not that surprising that they're doing something new to start a new month. But yeah, $15 is open for anyone who's not on Instagram this morning or on Discord this morning. Nick was busy packing up his orders and not slacking in Discord like I was. So I knew pretty quick this morning. But I do already have like 40 cards ready to go. I'm probably gonna do like 100 cards at 15 for now, and I think we'll see 12 early next year. Potentially January 1st they go to 12, depending on what they see. If people hold the line and decide not to submit at 15, I mean maybe we see 12 in January, February, March, sometime that time frame. We'll see though.
Yeah, I'll probably do another submission. I actually found I thought I sold them all, but I found a greenback Topson set, the complete 151 card set. So I'm going to send those. But yeah, wish I knew about that last night.
Don't you love when you just randomly find, like, I don't know what the value of that is, but when you just randomly find stuff that you should not have ever lost in the first place?
Yes. That is a good feeling, yes.
It obviously, though, was easier to lose stuff years ago because a lot of times I lost stuff when it was 20 or $50, and then I find it when it's like 500 or 1,000 or something.
Exactly.
You want to take the one that's on screen?
Yeah. So next question comes from Eric. You mentioned you've been low on questions lately, so I'm going to try and spoil you. If it's too much, feel free to just pick one. Question number 1. How do you feel about variants? Be they language, holofoil patterns, or both? I.e., some cards were only holo in Japanese. Personally, I'm not typically a big fan of variants. Especially holo patterns. Really not a big fan of those. I don't collect those at all. Languages, I typically stick with English, a little bit of Japanese, but then for my booster pack collection, I have branched off into all the foreign languages for base set specifically. So I do collect a little bit of the other languages, but for me personally, it's mainly English, a little bit of Japanese, and then mainly just one version of the card. I don't usually do reverse holos, so it's typically just holos for me. I don't really do any of the like weird holo patterns, deck exclusive cards, anything like that. How about yourself there?
I was gonna bring up your packs if you didn't. The big Korean Unlimited buy. But yeah,
I was happy about that one.
I'm not a big variant guy. Like as a business, as a savvy seller, like people who followed me for a long time, going back to E4 or my eBay, I frequently will have fourth print base, 1999 to 2000 copyright date. When I'm a seller, I know what I have, and I'm gonna like try to get more for something that's a bit more niche, a bit more scarce. But like as a collector, I don't have a separate binder of 1999 to 2000. I do have base set first edition, base set shadowless, and then base set unlimited. So I care about the variants for base set alone. But other than that, same thing. I don't do reverse holos. I don't do theme deck exclusive in my binders. I just don't really care that much. I just get like the standard, I guess the most standard rarity, the most standard card, whatever that would be. Yeah, I guess that's my answer for that one. And then Eric's second question is, do you have a favorite holofoil pattern? McDonald's, Gengar, General Mills, etc. Not really. I know a ton of people are crazy about the swirls, and I'm not even great with like which one's the Galaxy, which one's the Cosmos, which one's. I'm not even great with all the different names of them, but I know a lot of people hate the black and white era. They love this, they hate that. I think it's cool how they have a lot of different ones, and I appreciate each one for what they are. Like I don't have like crazy opinions. I guess the ones with what's the one with swirls called? Is that the Galaxy?
I think you can have swirls on both, can't you? I don't know.
Or maybe I don't even know. Like I'm not super into the nuances and the finer things like that, I guess.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. Galaxy, Cosmos are obviously the two best ones in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of the McDonald's, General Mills, the modern ones. Well, I guess they do have the Cosmos in modern, but your typical modern holos where it's just like lines. Not a big fan of that. I'm definitely more of the original. With the Galaxy and Cosmos hollow foil pattern, but like I said, really not big into one or the other, stuff like that.
And then Eric goes on to ask, how do you feel about stamps, Toys R Us, KFC, Build-A-Bear? I'm not much of a variant guy. I'm not much of a stamp guy. I again, if I have them, I'm gonna like understand the market's value of them. A lot of times those are fairly niche. They go for a bit of a premium. I mean, I'm gonna like capitalize on that from a business perspective to maximize my sale value. But I just don't really like, I don't have all the Toys R Us things in my collection. I don't have all the Build-A-Bear promos in my collection. I just don't really care about the variants.
I'm the opposite on this one. There's certain variants that I really do like. Toys R Us, I really like those cards, mainly because I grew up with Toys R Us as a kid. Toys R Us logo is very iconic, so I'm working towards building that whole set as like sealed cards. So I do like that. The Build-A-Bear cards, I also kind of like those, so I pick those up here and there, just one of each to build a set of them. So I do like those cards, but like I don't even know what the KFC ones are, but I know they had like Japanese or
Indonesian. I had some in a recent collection I bought. They were like Indonesian, I think.
Is it just like the KFC logo in the bottom, like left corner?
I think that's what it was. Yeah, and there's like Domino's Pizza Snorlax ones.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different variants out there.
Like the Domino's, they had like a 7-Eleven, and it's just like the logo in like the bottom left corner. Those ones I have no interest whatsoever in, and I really don't understand why people collect those types of cards. Where it's just such a tiny logo in like the bottom left corner that's so easily to miss. Where at least the Toys R Us, it's just big giant logo on the holofoil, so you're not going to miss that. Same with the Build-A-Bear. The other ones though are just I don't see the appeal of those ones. But the last question is, Nick, as someone who sells a ton of singles, have you noticed any somewhat consistent trend of when cards tend to bottom out? I've heard 2 years after release is generally the time to set up sets, or set time to build sets, I assume. So they've been bottoming out really quick. I guess like a month after release would be a good time to start building the sets. You could probably build the majority of the set after a month of release. Typically how it works, like with Silver Tempest, how it worked for me was oh, there we go. How it worked for me with Silver Tempest was the first weekend pricing was really high. That next week pricing slowly started to go down. I lowered all the bulk cards, your commons, uncommons, rares, reverse holos. I lowered my pricing on those cards to like my floor pricing. So 5 cents a piece on commons, 10 cents a piece on rares, 10 cents a piece on reverse holos, all that stuff. On TCG Player, lowered that price like the weekend following of release. So those cards bottomed out really quickly. And then the hit cards, I probably lowered my pricing to the lowest on those maybe like last week or so like a month after release. Obviously though, you still have like your Alt Art Lugia, Alt Art Unknown. Those cards I think could go down a little bit further. Those are still pretty expensive, especially if you're going after graded copies of those cards. So on those ones, the longer you could wait, the better. But on your typical, like your bulk cards, your bulk hit cards, even maybe a month or so after release, you're probably pretty good.
I think you covered it pretty well, and you're in that space a lot more than I am these days. I think we did have one more on this one. Let me double check. Yeah, number 5. More of a troll one. When a shopping cart Pokemon eventually comes out, we all know Nick will have no choice but to rebrand with his whole channel. Is there an object/animal that Dan identifies with, or generally would like a Pokemon in the future to be based on? His would be a capybara, for example. Um, I don't know why, but I've always liked penguins quite a bit. My daughter has a Piplup. My daughter has the Rosa and Piplup canvas, like these ones behind me. She has that canvas in her room. But I like the penguin ones. I like Piplup. I mean, that's already there too. As far as any other animals they haven't covered yet that I like that I would like them to, like I don't think there's any other ones. I'm sure there's some out there, but no, I'm in pretty good shape between Quaxley and Charmander and Piplup, and I'm happy with the spread we've got. Anything you're holding out hope on besides for a shopping cart?
Uh, Not really. I guess I was obsessed with Winnie the Pooh growing up as a kid, and I loved Tigger. So maybe if we can get a tiger that looks like Tigger, that would be cool. I could go for that.
Like it? I like Tigger too. I was not that big into Winnie the Pooh, but I did always like Tigger the most.
Oh,
Um,
at least you like Tigger.
yeah. Stuart says, non-troll question: have you guys ever considered accepting returns? And do you think the increase in sales from legit buyers who just need the added layer of buyer protection would outweigh dealing with returns? Weigh the pros and cons. I've never considered it. I am fairly confident I never will. eBay actually exempts our categories from having to accept returns to qualify for the top rated seller discount. So like pros aren't there. Like the pros are these theoretical buyers that need the, as you describe it, added layer of buyer protection. But all I see are the cons of price went down, an auction came up, I got it cheaper. Just all I see is abuse, and that's probably like a bit too cynical for like what the reality would be. But I just don't know who these theoretical buyers are that need like eBay. If you need an extra layer of buyer protection on eBay, I don't know. Like you must walk outside in a bubble. I don't know how you could like navigate through life if you think eBay doesn't have enough buyer protection. That would be my take on it. Anything to
Yeah,
add there?
I you covered that one pretty well. I accepted returns for the longest time because for a while, to be top rated seller, you had to have, I think it was 30-day returns before they
Yep.
before they switched it over. So I did that for a while. It's a massive pain having accepting returns. Because I do free shipping on everything, and where I do free shipping, when a buyer wants to return something, I have to refund the entire amount. I can't take out what I spent on shipping to ship the buyer whatever card. So I'm out the shipping, I get the card back, have to refund them. It's just a massive pain. So I will never go back to accepting returns, especially now that eBay has that 3-day window for the trading card category. To be you don't have to accept returns to be top rated seller in the trading card category, which is awesome. Plus, like I said, I don't see the reason. I really don't see a benefit to accepting returns as the seller, just because eBay's buyer protection is already there.
Hmm.
eBay buyers, even though you don't accept returns, eBay buyers can return an item for any reason. All they have to do is I don't know if I should say this, but you ship out the item, they receive the item exactly as described. If they open up an item not as described case within 3 days, eBay's automatically going to side with them and force you to accept that return.
Yep.
It's really tough to navigate around that. So eBay is definitely there for the buyers, and they have great buyer protection, which really stinks as a seller sometimes, but as a buyer, it's really good.
Yeah. We got a few questions here from RG, the TCG Senpai here. I've been collecting cards and sealed products across a lot of TCGs for about 12 years. What is your favorite old 2009 and older and new sealed product? It's probably a boring answer, but like base set first edition booster box. Like that is the OG. That is, I don't own one. I've never owned, I've never opened. But to me, like favorite old sealed product would be base set first edition. That's where it all started. Well, people would say the true base set first edition is the 1996 Japanese no rarity starter decks, but I'm an English guy, so that's what I grew up with. That would be my answer. Figured I'd just get in with that before someone said it in the comments. And then new sealed product, I really like, I've got it up behind me. I really liked the Celebrations set as a whole, and I really liked those metallic cards. That's probably right up there. I'm sure if I spent more time thinking about it, like there's been a lot of cool, constantly there's a lot of cool products coming out, but those are my two quick hitting answers.
Favorite old sealed product. I'm gonna say my Gold Strip Team Deck display cases. I really like those. Absolutely love the Shadowless base set, and I think those are really cool. There's not too many of those out there, which is definitely nice. But I really do like those. Plus the fact that those Gold Strip Brushfire decks could have the no damage Ninetales. That really helps me like those. But new sealed product, I was gonna go with the Celebrations UPCs myself, because just like you, I absolutely love Celebrations. Trying to think of something else though. The Evolution collection boxes where you have the Alt-Art, Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon. I think those are really good. I personally really like those, so I'll go with those since you stole my first idea.
Continuing on, now that we're starting to exit the flip and dip era, what items are you starting to buy for your own collection that you don't have anymore? I'm assuming the question is like, what did you sell maybe that you're buying back? I guess I don't fully understand it potentially, but yeah, what are you starting to buy for your collection that you don't have anymore? I am not buying a lot of what I sold for my collection in 2020. I used to be a PSA 9 collector. PSA 9 prices went up way higher than I value them. When the market values something more than me, I sell it and I move on. I went to binders, and then it's like I started looking at the binders, and I rated my binders for some of the $18 special, and I'm probably going to rate them some more. I honestly don't know that I'll have... It was kind of crazy that I had not master sets, not like reverse holos and everything, but I had complete sets of pretty much every set, base to current. And I don't know that I'm going to continue doing that in the future because it's like too cumbersome. It's just too crazy. Too crazy. Like cumbersome to do it, expensive to maintain it, and then just it's a lot of money to have tied up. And it like almost became burdensome. I put it all together once. It was all there intact, and I just can't continue. I can't justify continuing to keep it up. So yeah, I collect a lot of the Pokemon Center non-Pokemon card products, as you can see behind me. I still do like, I mean, there are Japanese promos, there are like trophy cards I've never owned that I intend to own one day that I'm pursuing, but that's it for the most part.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Once I decide to sell something from my own collection, I really don't go ahead and buy it back. It's pretty much gone forever. Like, I think the most recent thing I sold was the Poncho Pikachu boxes. I had all the like the Mario, Luigi, Rayquaza, Charizard. I had all those boxes, and with 2020, 2021, pricing got really expensive on those boxes. So I sold all those boxes, and now that we're kind of pricing settled down a little bit on those, they've gotten cheaper. I don't have any interest or desire to buy those back. So kind of once I sell something from my collection, it's kind of gone forever, and I move on to the next thing that I want.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a complete ETB collection that I assembled, sold. I had a complete pack collection at 1.2 that I actually sold to Rusty years ago. I'm like, I enjoy the journey. I enjoy putting stuff together. And then when I do, like I reach the summit at Everest, and then I sell my stuff and I start the trek down, and I go to the next climb.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way there.
Third part of the question, do you think what Hasbro has recently done to the Magic community is going to bring a small boost into the Pokemon community? I don't necessarily think like people leaving Magic are just directly going to go into Pokemon. There's a lot of differences with it. A lot of people cross between different TCGs, but I don't think it'll just be one-to-one like that. I don't think it works like that personally.
Yeah, I feel the same on that one. I think Pokemon and Magic are completely different from one another. Where I don't think Magic people will come to Pokemon.
Maybe it would be more like
people,
Flesh and
not
Blood.
many.
Yeah, it would be like a percentage thing. Maybe percentage-wise, more people would look at Flesh and Blood or something like that, or MetaZoo. I don't really know, but I don't think it'll just be like, okay, $10 million a year is leaving Magic, and now $10 million a year is plopped into Pokemon. And then the last question is best gold star, period. Don't show that Greninja. Genuinely, art-wise, like just species-wise, I really do enjoy. It's kind of a meme, but I really do enjoy the Gold Star Greninja. Other than that, like there's so many great ones. I like the Gyarados is really, really cool. I actually have like a pretty damaged Gyarados that's gonna go to PSA for 15. But yeah, I probably Gyarados would be up there.
Gyarados? It's probably one of my least favorites.
Is it?
There's only one right answer to this question, and Professor Oak, if you're still in here, you'll like this answer. Pikachu is by far the best gold star. No questions there.
They're all good. I mean, I don't know.
Not as good as Pikachu.
So we covered all of RG's. Let's see if we have more. Mr. Walrus asks, with Magic's new release, how likely is it this was all a ploy to make huge margins and win people back? The product sells out, and in 2023, WotC released a statement that they learned what customers want and restructure releases, etc. Thoughts? Businesses are in business to make money. I think the 30th anniversary was a ploy. I don't know if a ploy is the right word, but that was an attempt to cater to some consumer, many of which on YouTube and on Twitter don't seem to like it, but some amount of people bought it. Some amount of crazy people wanted those fake proxies for $1,000 a box. But yeah, at the end of the day, like Magic, Hasbro, they're in business to make money. And I think, I don't know. I don't know enough to answer all their thinking behind it. But clearly, Secret Lairs, direct-to-consumer, Amazon, 30th anniversary, like they're kind of like very reasonable argument that I've heard some people make, and I think is potentially valid. They're sacrificing long-term potential for like short-term gain, long-term pain, and that might be the end result. That like they're really choking out LGSs when I mean Mason mentioned in my live chat yesterday, he's buying boxes of some product for $100 from his distributor, and then Hasbro is dumping it for $60 on Amazon. His wholesale cost is $100, and Hasbro's selling it on Amazon for $60. That is not good. That is, again, I went through this rant yesterday in my own live stream, but that's more damaging than a 30th anniversary $1,000 product in my opinion. What are your thoughts?
I think they're both pretty damaging. They're making a ton of money now, but I think it's going to really affect them in the long term. I don't think it's a smart move for them to be selling direct to consumer, because Magic is all about playability. There's very minimal collectability within Magic, and playability is all based around LGSs. So if Hasbro is going to be selling direct to consumer on Amazon, eventually these LGSs are just going to stop stocking Magic products, and the player base is going to go way down because none of these LGSs are going to be stocking Magic product, and that's just going to be the demise of Magic if things keep going the way it is. And then the only thoughts I have on the 30th anniversary, I don't follow Magic much at all. I really don't have any interest in Magic. But the only thoughts that I have, I didn't like the idea of them reprinting the cards with the whole reserved list. We're never going to reprint these cards, and then they go ahead and reprint the cards. Granted, it is different. You're not allowed to play with the cards, but it is kind of the same thing. If they do that now, what's stopping them from doing like an actual reprint identical to the original Alpha cards at some point down the line? And then the $1,000 price point for 4 packs. I know you, Dan, say they can charge whatever they want. It's gonna sell out. But if you're wanting a 30th anniversary to kind of celebrate the history of Magic, you want a product that is available to the masses and that more people can purchase to actually enjoy and open. Nobody can afford a $1,000 product. Your casual players and collectors within Magic, those people can't afford that. The only people who can afford a $1,000 product are your people who are really big into Magic, who already have a ton of money, people who are like doing YouTube videos and making ad revenue and all of that stuff. Charging $1,000 is not something that's available to the majority of your fan base. It's for the top tier people within Magic. So I don't think that was a smart idea. I think Pokemon celebrations, I think that was an absolute home run of a 25th anniversary. I think that's definitely the way to do it. Pump out as much product as you can so that as many people as possible can actually enjoy it.
So what do you think about the 20th anniversary gold Pikachu they did that was $2,000 for $500 worth of gold? Was that like... Was that a slap in the face?
To generations, though.
But and we don't need to rehash the whole thing that I did yesterday in my live stream for anyone that was there. But as far as my understanding is, I think they did other 30th anniversary products, and I think they might continue to do more too. Like before the 30th anniversary product, the $1,000 booster product that I bought, I think there was some other secret lair that was some 30th anniversary celebration. I think there's going to be more into next year. I could be wrong there. I'm not positive. But for me, again, my take is if it was 2,000, I would have bought it. If it was, I don't know how high I would have gone, but I would have gone a little bit higher, surely. The $2,000 product in 2016, some people were mad about that. I was just recently looking at the thread on E4. Some people were like, I'm a Pikachu collector. I'm entitled to own and afford every single Pikachu that's ever been released. And like, they didn't like the price point. It was pushing them out of it. It wasn't fair to them. I don't agree with any of those takes. Like, I think it's perfectly fine. I understand that like some people get mad about it, but I think there's a lot of things in life that people get mad about that shouldn't let that affect them. Like, you really don't need to own everything. And I made this point yesterday too. My name is Catch 'em All Collectibles. The slogan, the theme, whatever of Pokemon has got to catch 'em all. You really don't have to though. You really don't have to. Like even the way Magic 30th works out too. It's like $20 a card or something. The Team Rocket case. The Team Rocket case was like 2 cards for $100. Beautiful product, beautiful release. I was there when it happened. I didn't buy any. I wish I had. It's like an $8,000 case or $5,000 case or whatever it is now. That $2,000 Pikachu is now like $30,000 plus. I wasn't like offended though. I'm like, man, I would love to have that gold Pikachu 2000. It was too much for me at the time. If it came out today, I would buy 10. I would buy 10 $2,000 gold Pikachus tomorrow if they released one, without much hesitation. But I didn't have the money at the time. I would have loved it. You and I both. We're bullion. We're coin/card. Like that crossed the gap kind of. But I didn't have the money to. I didn't feel entitled to it. I didn't cry about it. I just like I I can't really swing it, and I didn't buy it, and I wish I had, clearly, price-wise, but yeah, that's my take. I don't want to get too deep into it.
Yeah, no. I didn't realize. I thought this was like their equivalent of Celebrations, where this was going to be like the really the only thing that they were doing for the 30th anniversary. If this is like a small section like our Gold Pikachu or the Team Rocket box or something like that, then it's less of an issue. But like I said, I don't follow Magic at all, so I'm not sure on that.
Like they did what was called a countdown kit. Again, I'm not like super deep in Magic either, but they did a countdown kit that was talked about. I've consumed over the past week or so. I've consumed a fair bit of content around this 30th anniversary product because it's an interesting case study in our, like, I know someone mentioned in the chat they're sick of all this Magic talk, all this. I think it's very pertinent to anyone in the cardboard space. I think Magic is kind of like the big brother of a lot of these TCGs we all know and love. And even though we don't have an analogous, like we don't have a reserve list, I think this is still relevant. What goes on with Magic, I think is relevant to people who do Yu-Gi-Oh, who do Flesh and Blood, who do Pokemon. I think it's interesting to just watch and follow along. But yeah, they I'm looking right now. They had some countdown kit. I'm assuming they're going to have more products coming out throughout the year. I could be wrong there though. If this is the only product, like I kind of get it, but like if someone were to ask me, do you think Pokemon is doing it better, or do you think Magic is doing it better? I would absolutely say Pokemon. I would absolutely agree that like. I think the Rocket Case, the Gold Pikachu, the Celebrations, all the stuff Pokemon is doing is better, and I think that's showing. I think the market is like showing that Pokemon's doing things better. But yeah, it is. Those are my takes. I would have loved to have got that. I don't. Do you remember seeing? I think I remember. I looked at that thread recently, and you were in it too. I think you were in the E4 thread about the Gold Pikachu. I don't think you bought any, right?
I vividly remember when that was released, and the people, someone did like the what the gold price was of that card, and it was like, I think it was even less than $500.
It was 11 grams of gold. I remember it was 11 grams of gold, and I want to say gold was about $40-50 a gram. So I think it was like $500.
Okay. Yeah, I remember just seeing that and thinking how expensive that thing was. But yeah, looking back, I would have loved to buy one back then. Never did though.
But what was your like? I think a lot of people feel very angry. Like you like Pikachu, right? Like Pikachu is one of your more top species that you like. You like the base set. You like. Yeah. You like precious metals, you like gold. Like this checked a lot of your boxes. Yep. It checked a lot of mine too. But when you saw it come out, were you like what was your take? Was it like, oh my God, I can't believe they did this to me? This is like, that was not my take. No. My take, like that is a lot of people's takes though. A lot of people take it personally.
That's true.
Like, and like you didn't turn yourself into a victim over it. Pokemon didn't harm you with that, right? A lot of people are acting like
I moved on instantly.
And this is a little bit different because Mark Rosewater made that post and he lied. He went back on his word, whatever. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. I think you have anything else to add to that before I turn this into 2 more hours?
No, I'm good. Yeah, just people just need to remember, you can't possibly have everything. There's going to be certain things that you have to skip out on, whether that's for budgeting reasons or just something that doesn't fit in your collection. You can't possibly collect everything. First off, nobody has enough money to collect everything. And then secondly, if you have the money, you probably don't have the space to collect everything. Because these cards take up a lot of room when you start adding them up.
Yeah, definitely. So Shiny Lightbulb 1000 says, question for next podcast. What do you think will happen to the remaining special delivery Charizards from Pokemon Center when the promotion ends at the end of the year? Will we all of a sudden see a huge dump of them on the market? Will they extend the promotion? I'm not sure how that works. I know with like Ancient Mew going 20-something years of hindsight, what it seems happened, they distributed all these boxes. Like I think they came in long boxes, and at the movie theaters they handed them out to the people that went to the movie. Clearly, all the Ancient Mews that weren't handed out on release days at movie theaters were not just like thrown in the dumpster or destroyed. They were clearly who retained them, whether it was the manager of the owner, whether it was some random employee that would say, "Hey, go throw those Ancient Mews out." A lot of them escaped clearly in the boxes. Pokemon probably has things more locked down these days than they did back then, and these aren't being distributed at thousands of movie theaters around the country or around the world. These are just being distributed through orders at the Pokemon Center. So I think it's very reasonable that Pokemon Center would just order the rest destroyed. But it's also semi-reasonable that some amount of employees might just slip out with like, oh, I'm going to take a nice Christmas bonus here. 100 of these special delivery Charizards, 1,000 of these special. Like, it's crazy the numbers that we're dealing with. Because, like, to an employee working at, like, there are probably single employees that pack 50 orders, 100 orders, 200 orders in a day. And just, like, they must just have a bin of them. They must just have, like, hundreds of them, thousands of them kicking around. That's 50 grand. That's what they make in a year, sitting in one box. I don't know what happens with all those, but that's just some theory and some conversation around them, I guess. And then the Ancient Mew being like actual history of what did happen.
Yeah, I pretty much feel the same on that one. I do wonder, like, how many extras do they have at this point? Do they still have like a ton of extras just sitting in the back, waiting to be distributed, or are they starting to run low? We'll never know the answer to that, but I think it'll go over a little bit better than like the Ancient Mew, like you said, just because Pokemon Center, you're dealing with a couple, maybe one distribution center, and so all the cards are right there. Where with movie theaters, you have movie theaters in like every single town. So there's thousands of those. But yeah, so I do think come the end of the year, Pokemon will say promotion's done. We're good to go. They'll probably destroy the others, or say to destroy the others. I'd imagine a bunch of them are going to get leaked out somehow.
And honestly, like a few thousand copies of that sounds like a lot, but if a few thousand were to leak out, it's probably not going to greatly affect. Like, there are probably hundreds of thousands of those naturally going out into the wild. So like if a few thousand more come out, extra copies is always like a topic, especially with low print trophy type promotional release type cards, and this is not like a low print release type product. This is, I'd be kind of surprised if they didn't print 1 million of them. I mean, hundreds of thousands. There's got to be, there's a lot of them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That does finish all our questions from the prior episode. I'm gonna go through. I'm probably not gonna grab every single question that was asked. We're gonna try to like get up to where we're hanging out with chat, get up to where or maybe I'll bounce between like a current one and then an old one. But this is one that came in early from Professor Birch, and it's actually pretty relevant. I think Nick has a little story to share on it. But when deciding on a business name / logo, I'm wondering how sellers get around copyright infringement, i.e. Nick using Pokemon in his name, old school Pokemon, and you, Dan, using Charmander as a logo. I'll cover myself quickly. Charmander will not survive as my logo into the new year. I paid someone, kind of a weird thing, but I've been using that for so long, dating back to my time on E4. So many people see that sassy Charmander and they think me. They think Catch 'em All Collectibles, gotta catch 'em all. I've paid someone to do like it's like that meme. We have Charmander at home, and then it's like this really like crappy Wish version of something. So it's almost like a lizard that looks like Charmander, but I think it would be close enough that it wouldn't cross over. So I'm gonna launch that in the coming weeks, month or so. And I'm going to use that as like an in-between to just get people away from the Charmander. I think ultimately I'm just going to be Catch 'em All Collectibles with no real logo and just like the certain color scheme or whatever. But yeah, I mean, PokeFlipz too. We've got the Pokeball logo. Rusty has talked about it before. It's been quite a while, I think, since he's mentioned it. But I think someone complained. Someone actually sent something to Pokemon about him being the Charizard authority. And then they sent him a letter saying like, yeah, you can't really do that anymore. So now instead of the Charizard Authority, he's TCA Gaming. So I'm just going to go to being like Catch 'em All Collectibles with this semi Charmander looking guy for like the brand recognition. And then several months down the line, I'm just going to drop that altogether, I think, and just be my certain color scheme with the name.
I think you need to have some type of logo. What are you going to do for like profile pictures and all that stuff?
It can just be the name. I don't know. I probably need to come up with something, but I don't really like the idea of just using like a Wish version of Charmander. But that's what I've gone with so far. I don't know. We'll see. I'm definitely gonna step away from the Charmander though, because I don't like the thought of having a logo that like I'm not legally supposed to use, because that's really what it is.
Yeah. At least though, for you, it's just your logo. With me, it's the whole name. So I don't even know what I would do if that happens. I'd be screwed. I just
Nobody
can't get
tattle.
big. That's what it is.
Yeah, nobody tattle.
But yeah, so a scare that I had recently, for those of you who don't know, I have a website, www.oldschoolpokemon.com.
I still have to put that in the description, don't I?
Oh, you still don't have that in the description? Oh,
well, you have the login too, though. You could do it too.
That's
there.
True.
I linked it.
That's
I linked it in the chat.
Oh, there we go. There we go. But yeah, so I have a website through Shopify, and I got an email the other day from Shopify. From Shopify support. Important. Resolve use of unlicensed copyright theme on your Shopify account. So my mind immediately went to, Shopify doesn't like the fact that I'm using Pokemon in old school Pokemon. So my heart sank for a second there, and the email is like super official and really hard to understand. So I read through the email and I thought it was because of Pokemon still. So I went from feeling really good that day to really bad that day for a minute. And then I read through the email again, and it was luckily just because of the theme that I was using on Shopify. So when I redesigned my website, I picked two different themes, and I was kind of working on those two themes to see which one I liked better. And Shopify has like a time limit of how long you could test those themes for. And I went past the expiration date of using both those themes, so I had to choose one or the other, and actually delete the one that I wasn't using off of my account or buy it. So luckily that was all it was. But hopefully that'll never happen where I have to get rid of old school Pokemon.
I see.
I don't know what I would change it.
Lord Pokesmoke in the chat says he's typing up a letter right now to Pokemon.
Thanks.
Here's a really quick one, also by Professor Birch. Say a card is perfectly centered, has no scratches, no whitening, but it has silver on the borders. How far does PSA drop the card? I've graded many cards like that in 10. I don't fully agree with the fact that they should get a 10, and it's probably like a severity thing. Very, very severely silvered would probably go to a 9 just in the silvering by itself, but small amounts of silvering, some amount, you just got to grade a few cards and try to get a feel for it. But one grader on one day might treat it a little differently than another grader on another day.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. There's so much. PSA is really good about being consistent, but there's also a lot of inconsistency that goes into grading. Exactly like you were saying, one grader might deduct that edge silvering, another grader might say, well, that's a factory thing, we won't deduct for it. So it really just depends. I would personally say that the edge silvering does deduct from the overall grade. I wouldn't deduct it like super harsh. I would say like scratching and print lines is, actually no, I think I would change that. I would say print lines is less of a deduction than the edge silvering, in my personal opinion.
And I don't even know that PSA has like a rigorous training to say, like if you go to PSA's website, it talks about Gem Mint 10 having 4 perfectly sharp corners. That's not even applicable to Pokemon cards. Like, they literally don't even have a grading scale to cover something that they've graded 4 million of in the past year or 2 years. Like, their whole grading standard just applies to like the gloss and the corners and these things that are sports cards. And not even like, they don't even apply to ultra modern sports cards that much in some cases. It's kind of a weird thing. And I kind of almost just feel like they don't have a formal training on a lot of it, and more of it's just left to like the individual grader on the day. But clearly all the things I say, it doesn't come to a surprise that I don't really value the opinion of PSA too highly. And on that point, John actually has a question. How much do you value grade on higher end prize cards? For example, let's use the Trophy Kang. What do you value the difference in PSA 9.8 versus PSA? And how does this differ from the market? For me, like, obviously it's both. Like, if you can have super rarity and get condition, it's better. Like, there's always going to be a value difference. But like PSA 10 base first edition Charizard for 250k and PSA 9 base first edition Charizard for 25k, the 9 all day long, like all day long. And that's almost universal. Like, there are very few cards that I think are worth the 10 premium. The only ones would be the ones where like the 10s are so cheap because there's so many of them anyways. Like, if I was buying a Sword Shield 50 to keep for my collection, I'd just spend 25 or 30 bucks on auction and get the 10 over the 9. Like, why not? It's an extra 10 bucks, whatever. But yeah, like, I don't even know what Trophy Kangs are going for these days. But like,
we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, if I can get a card for half the price because it's in a 9, I'm always gonna just take more cards for the money. Trophy cards or not.
Yeah. I agree with you on that one. The Charizard example, I don't know if that's the best example where there's so many, even first edition base Charizard. There's a lot of those cards compared to trophy cards. So I can see conditional rarity being a thing with those cards. But stuff like Pika trophies, Trophy Kangs, illustrators, I don't think there should be such a massive price difference between the grades. I think the obviously you have some people who want the best of the best. Logan Paul with his PSA 10 illustrator, but there's only however many of those cards out there, 30, 39, whatever. So all of those cards are incredibly rare, and for the 10 to sell for 6 times what a 9 sells for seems a little excessive to me. Either the 10 shouldn't be worth that much, or the 9 should be worth a lot more. Just because I really don't think the grade matters as much on those cards as it does on your typical set cards.
Like, I understand though, like, I'm a broke boy compared to the big whales, and like Logan Paul, I understand why he spent $5 million on that card. I don't value 10s anywhere near the market overall. Money is this weird thing where when you have enough of it, it doesn't matter. You just spend. Like, I am dealing with some collectors. I am selling to some collectors who it's 10 or bust. Like, I am selling some Japanese promo cards. I'm selling some semi-trophy cards, prize cards. And they're like, there are certain levels where they'll take 9s because it's like 10s barely happen. But yeah, like at the uber high end, some of these uber rich people who are worth more than I'll make in 100 lifetimes, like, I understand why it exists, but I just don't value it. Like, I love it. I love that it exists because I sell to that. But that's just universal for me. 10s are overvalued universally to me. The market cares more, so I always just sell. I always just sell 10s. That's where I've been.
So maybe the 10 might not be the best example to use. I don't know. So like Slowpoke traded, I think he had a PSA 3. Trophy Kangaskhan for a legendary collection box, so value like 40,000-ish, 35, 40,000-ish. And then the most recent 9 sale that we saw was 85,000 that didn't get paid. even that price discrepancy, 40,000 between a PSA 3 and a 9, I think that's a fairly large gap, given the fact that these cards, the cards alone, just having the card is incredibly rare. Not many people can say that they have a Trophy Kang in any condition. So I think either the 9 is overpriced, which is, in my opinion, unlikely, or the 3 was a little underpriced, which is more so what I would say.
One thing for me personally, I just don't like really damaged cards. Like I'm honestly fine with Masaki marked cards that would be like a CGC 8. I align way more with CGC's scale than PSA's. I would never want to own, like I want to own a Tropical Wind. I want to own a Mew Orb. I want to own a Pika Ring. I will not, but I mean, if it was like stupid cheap and I could just flip it, I would buy a PSA 3 of something. But like, I don't, for me, it's got to be like PSA 7, PSA 8 minimum. So I do value grades to some extent. I want cards that are near mint, and I honestly think like a PSA 6 card can be near mint. I think they are overly harsh on like individual small dents and stuff like that. But yeah, like a lot of the cards that I want to own, I want them to be 8s or 9s generally. But I'm not like taking these to the grave either. Like I want to own a Mew Orb, but it would be sold someday. It would be because I think it's a good card. I would only buy it if I think I got it at a good price that I could sell for more in the future.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Next question comes from Zergreth. What do you suggest somebody on the side does with their sales revenue? Reinvest it all back or take a percentage of profits for yourself? This is the kind of question that like I can tell you what I did. I cannot inform anyone what they should do. It is so dependent on you, your financial situation, your cash flow, like, and then the future of Pokemon. I got into Pokemon in 2014. I put $5,000 in, and I invested every dollar I made flipping went back into the business between then and 2020. So thousands and thousands and thousands of hours, all the profits from that all went into the hobby. I made out really well because the trend line of Pokemon over that 6-year span was like this. It was like a steady incline the whole way, ending with an insane bubble. And I sold into that bubble. Starting in 2020, I've been a net remover of capital from the hobby just because I didn't believe in it. I didn't believe in those cards at those prices. So that's what I did. I can't tell you what you should do though. Like I can't suggest anyone whether they should take money out as they go. Every year into the future, I will be taking out money as I go. I mean, by definition, I'm a business. This is my job. I'm on the payroll. I have to. But whether you should do that or not, I don't know. Like Pokemon 10 years from now, like we could find that we still have a ways down to go. I'm not going to advise someone reinvest everything and then 5 years later we're down 50% from where we are today and they're like financially ruined over it. I don't know your situation, so I can't say what you should do. That's my answer.
Yeah, it really depends on your own situation. Like Dan was saying, I went all in myself and similar to you, reinvested everything that I made on eBay back into Pokemon for a very long time. And even now, I'm not taking a ton of money out. I'm taking enough to pay my bills, go out to eat, go out to drink, have all that stuff. But I'm not taking a ton of money out. Still putting a lot back into different collections and stuff like that. But it really depends on your own situation for sure.
Here's a good one from Slab Podcast. I'll let you go first, but I'll read it. I guess I'll just read both. What is your favorite new business venture from 2022? And what's something you learned that left a sour taste in your mouth? The two-parter. If you want to just go one and one or.
Yeah, we'll go one and one. What was the favorite business venture?
Yep, favorite business venture.
2022. So this year, what have I done this year?
You can't say PokeFlipz because that was last year.
Damn it. No, for me, it would be starting my website. That's the recent one. I started it maybe a month or two ago. But I am, I'm tied between my website and TCG Player now, because TCG Player was the beginning of 2022, and I was on the fence about starting with TCG Player for quite some time, multiple years. And I finally decided to give it a shot, and I am very glad that I did. Absolutely love TCG Player. So that would be one. And then the second one would be my website. Similar to TCG Player, I wanted to start a website for a very long time. I never did because I thought it was going to be difficult. I knew the traffic going to the website was going to be next to nothing. But a couple months ago, I finally bit the bullet and used Shopify to build my own website, and I'm really glad that I did. Definitely looking to expand that more going into the future. So those would be my two business ventures of 2022.
Mine would be my consignment service. I've already handled some cards that I've never owned before, and even though I'm not like owning them, the process is someone owns them, they send them to me, I sell them. I have no ownership in there, but still having them pass through my hands. I've already seen some cool, like Japanese Shinings. I've never owned any, and I recently sold a PSA 9. I currently have a CGC 9, like Shining Charizard, on consignment. So it's cool. It's cool to just get that aspect of the business. One, it's profitable. Like it's a good part of the business as far as dollars and cents go. But it's also just cool to see things that I've never owned, and I'm hopeful that I'll continue to have like a fruitful business from that, and I'm hopeful that I'll continue to receive things that I've not seen or owned before. And then the second part is something that you learned that left a sour taste in your mouth, or if you wanted to continue on with that too.
No, I was just gonna say the consignments are fun, because you do get to see a lot of cards that you normally like. I have one person who sends in a whole bunch of consignments, or two people actually, and it's all Japanese cards, which I do not deal with Japanese cards whatsoever. So it is cool to see all these Japanese cards that I really had very little knowledge about. So it does help build a knowledge base and all that fun stuff. I'll let you go first on the second one. I gotta think on that.
I was hoping to let you go. It does say this year specifically. Like, I honestly don't think that I've learned anything new in 2022 that left a sour taste in my mouth. I think I learned like all the things, and people know, like all the things that I rant on, all the things that I think I learned that all long ago. I think all the things I have gripes with, all the things I am not a huge fan of, I've known. And I've seen everything. I've not seen everything. I'm constantly expanding and growing and learning. But I don't know that there's been any big like new revelation that I've had in 2022 that I didn't already know.
Yeah, I can't think of anything either. It's just been more of there's. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say and I did a video addressing it. I don't want to get into too deep into the drama of it and the speculation, but some of what I know that's going on between the whole breakup between Ludkins and PSA, I know that there's some like crappy stuff going on that I can't really talk about. But and I know people don't like to hear that. People don't like to hear like, oh, there's something that you can't tell. But yeah, I've had some private conversations with some people involved, and that whole situation is just bad.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But PSA's already had enough. That's not that surprising, or that's not that new. Like I've always had a bit of a love-hate relationship with PSA. Love them for what they do to my bank account, but otherwise not so much.
Yeah, I don't really have anything new. It's mainly just stuff that's happened in the past that continues to happen every year. Mainly just dealing with bad customers is like the worst thing that comes to my mind. I absolutely hate the whole customer service aspect of being a business. Something that you have to deal with, but it can be very aggravating sometimes. And
But
the whole meme of someone buys like a $10 card and messages you 100 times, and then someone buys a $5,000 card. Okay, money sent. That is 100% true. The
yeah,
most issues that I have are the people who spend $5 or less, and it is absolutely infuriating sometimes.
and you do so much
I,
volume in those cards too. I will say though, shout out to my consignment service, shout out to Nick's consignment service. If like Nick and like me, you also hate frustrating buyers that sometimes don't even end up buying cards, feel free to sell your cards through us. We'll take all that hassle. We'll pay you out per our schedules, check our terms, and yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Got a question up there from Ernesto for you specifically.
Oh boy. So Ernesto, how we doing? Question for Nick, old school Pokemon. Why are you opposed to being Butterfree on the thumbnail? Because Butterfree is probably the worst Pokemon ever. Literally doesn't have any cool abilities.
Butterfree was the GOAT though. I mean, in early in the game, like getting that Caterpie, you could get him evolved by level 10. Confusion was pretty big against Brock if you got him there.
Did you ever? That's true. That's true. Did you ever watch? I forget if it was Bugs Life or Ants. But when you sent me that picture last night, for those of you who don't know, well, I guess you said it. This is the thumbnail for the retro podcast that we're going to be doing next week.
We're going to use the Matrix one though, anyways. We're not going to use that one.
Yeah. Do you remember? I forget if it was Bugs Life or Ants, but there was a scene where the caterpillar, he's starting to turn into a butterfly, and he goes, "Look at me, I'm a beautiful butterfly now." That was the first thing I thought of when you sent me that picture.
I did not remember that, but right when you said it, the way that you said it, I definitely can envision that. I don't know which movie it was either. I think it was A Bug's Life though. I've seen both of those. It was. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that big fat caterpillar. I'm pretty sure it was A Bug's Life. Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh God, so someone's gonna clip that. Let's see.
Man.
Mr. Walrus wants a Nick rant real quick. He misses. You did a great video one time about like bad eBay buyers. That like you need to do 2022 version. I think that was towards the end of 2021, wasn't it? I think it was like a year in review.
Yeah, it was right around Christmas time. Because I remember the last one I because I like titled each buyer something different. And I titled like the last buyer Merry Christmas or something like that. So it was right around this time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
give us the 2022 version.
I do need to do that. That is a video that I had intended to do. It doesn't happen a ton. But you could probably do a video like that once a quarter or something like that. I don't know if you could do it once a month because it doesn't happen that often, but once a quarter, you could definitely do that. And that was something that I wanted to do. I got to get back into doing YouTube videos.
How's your whatnot going that you got back into for my single stream?
It went good for your single stream, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh man.
No, whatnot. I was excited to get back into Whatnot after your single stream. I was planning to do a Silver Tempest opening on Whatnot, see how that went, but my Silver Tempest product got delayed, so I wasn't able to do that. And then just got busy with eBay, and then I started up with the website. So Whatnot I've forgotten about. I think the plan now is to just focus on eBay. Focus on auctions on eBay, buy it nows on eBay, focus on the website, TCG Player, and then wait for eBay Live. That's kind of the next thing that I'm really excited about. And I think that's going to be really big. So when eBay Live starts, that's when I'll start getting back into live auctions. But as far as your question, Mr. Walrus, I did have a. It wasn't a really bad thing that happened, but I had one buyer purchase it was 4 cards for it was the Pikachu V Union set of 4 cards. So I put all 4 cards into a penny sleeve. I put the penny sleeve cards into a team bag with a top loader behind all 4 cards, sealed it up, put it into an envelope, mailed it off. Now, on these cards, I'm making maybe $1 on that sale. I sold it for $2.99, and then you got to take out 60 cents, $1.20, call it like $1.40 on a, so maybe $1, call it like $1.50 is what I'm making on this sale. So I mail it out to the buyer. The post office, something happens in transit where the cards do actually get damaged by the post office. Buyer reaches out to me, absolutely furious about the situation. Hey, I received your package in the mail. Cards were absolutely destroyed. I don't understand how you could mail these cards in a standard number 10 envelope with just a top loader. I would never do that. You should always use first class mail, blah, blah, blah. You need to resolve this issue ASAP, or I will be contacting eBay to report you and leave negative feedback and all of this stuff. And so I respond back, sorry about that. I'll go ahead and issue a full refund. If there's anything else I can do for you, let me know. But what I really wanted to say was, is it really this big of a deal over a $3 item? And then secondly, how else do you expect me to mail it? There's first class mail costs a minimum of $4. So that is not possible whatsoever. People just have such unreal expectations. And then with that PWE thing, mailing cards PWE, biggest issue with PWE is that cards get lost in the mail. Either they truly get lost, which I do believe happens, or people just say, oh, I never got it, when they actually did. Cards actually getting damaged with PWE is a very, very rare occasion. It does happen on occasion, maybe a couple times a year, but very infrequently. So I think my packaging is pretty good. Unfortunately, this one person had the case where his cards just got damaged. So really nothing you can do about that. But for him to be that angry over a $3 purchase, I do not understand.
Everyone's the hero in their own story, and some people are just out to make everyone else the villain, and they go through life making themselves the victim of all these villains that they're out to conquer, and they just need like that extra, whether it's the added drama or whether they need to feel like they've persevered, they've overcome all these people doing them wrong. Like, it can't just be that something 1 out of 1,000 times got chewed up in the mail. Like, it was you set out that day to like harm them and cause them ill. Like, that's the way some people think. Like, it's absolutely crazy, and it's a plague. But because like you said, you package well, and all you can do, you package so that 99.99% of things go fine. If you were to like triple box every 99-cent single, there would still be that one time out of 10,000 that the truck runs it over and it bends in half. Like, you're never going to catch them all. It's all like, it's like a numbers game. Again, going back to like where I used to work, or maybe that was in my, I forget if that was in my stream yesterday or today, or maybe, no, that was this morning. Never mind. But like Silver coins, what do they do? Like 99.9% purity, 99.9, like the amount of extra cost that you have to get that additional 9999 on the end of like a purity, on the end of like defect rate or something like that. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. You gotta draw your line somewhere.
Yeah.
Ancient Mew asks, question, if or when they reprint Evolving Skies, will it sell out everywhere and still be pricey just like Hidden Fate? I see and hear these questions so much. They could print enough Evolving Skies that the price will go to $79.99, $89.99 shipped on eBay. Will they? Probably not. But could they? Absolutely. I don't know why people have this thing that like demand can be so high that infinity boxes can just be bought and it'll be $250. Like, I don't know. I could guess. And I think Evolving Skies will definitely be reprinted. I think it will definitely be sub 200. Do I think sub 150? Do I think sub 120? Probably sub 150, but I don't know about sub 120. That's my guess. It's not worth much because it's just a guess, but that's my guess.
Yeah, 100% true. It just depends on how much they actually reprint. Luckily, it's seeming like Pokemon has a really good grasp on how much product to actually print. So I don't think they just go ahead and print it into oblivion and just tank the market.
Caution though, some of the channels out there that are saying that Evolving Skies won't be reprinted, Evolving Skies can't go under 200 ever again. Check out what they said about Charizard UPC, because some of them were probably saying that could never go sub 200, never go sub 150, never go sub retail. There were Black Friday deals on the Charizard UPC at my wholesale cost. There were $85, $90, like, so problem is channels like that, they probably would have deleted the videos where they're wrong. So that's something that tends to happen. Yeah, so like you can't even verify whether or not they were wrong about something, but yeah, I would just be careful. Like if you're buying Evolving Skies as an investment, banking on it never going sub 250, there's risk. There's risk that it gets reprinted and it goes substantially sub. If you've got the money, if you're putting in 10K now and you want to put in 10 more K, 20 more K, 50 more K, if it goes sub 150, sub 120, sub 100, yeah, just know the risks. Know the risk with anything. If you're buying it to open it and it's worth 250 and then it goes down and, well, if it was worth 250 and you can get two of them for 250, you should be happy. Like, buy it, open it again.
Yeah. We've talked about it before. It makes sense that Evolving Skies would eventually get a reprint, but at the same time, I could see a world where it doesn't get a reprint. That's been a huge mystery to me. But yeah, if it does get a reprint, I think we'll see 150-ish for booster boxes. I don't think we'll ever see it go below 120-ish. But who knows? I say that just because our distributor, last time Evolving Skies got a reprint, they were selling boxes to us at 120, and I know my second distributor was also selling boxes at 120. So the floor pricing is raised. But if it gets an absolutely massive reprint,
you'll get them for $86.50.
Have to get rid of it, then they'll lower the pricing. So it all just depends. But yeah, I can see it definitely staying around mid hundreds, like 150 for sure. But who knows? Who knows on that one?
It all depends on the size. Like if I'm in the Pokemon executive room, if I'm in the ivory tower at Pokemon, there would be two schools of thought. There would be one, it's free money. If you reprint it, it auto sells out. Like right now, if you print Battle Styles, if you print Chilling Reign, when you print the new set, it's free money. Like distributors are going to take some amount of that. Every store is going to take some amount of that. So the freest money is like the newest set, but the next lowest hanging fruit right now is Evolving Skies. So my only two considerations being in that ivory tower is like, one, we're fully within our rights. Like no one's going to be that angry about it because it's a year old. It's well within the standard window. Like players actually need access to it. So one, like why would I not print 1 million more boxes or 500,000 more boxes and just get that instant sale? Instant sale. If I print Fusion Strike, if I overprint the newest set, maybe they don't all take it. Maybe they don't take all of it. Maybe it doesn't sell enough. Evolving Skies, to some number, whatever they like, it's gonna go quick because it's at 250. But the other side of it is like, honestly, I think Pokemon intentionally let some boxes kind of like run away, like Team Up. Like Team Up existing, what Team Up did, every time a set comes out, every time a set starts ticking up, it's in people's minds. Is this the next Team Up? Is this one going to be $1,000 box in 2 years, 3 years? Because they're not going to do that next wave. And maybe this is tinfoil hat, maybe not, I don't know. But I think to some extent, Pokemon wants products like that to happen, because then it makes everyone think that for some amount of time. And when Chilling Reign starts going above 100, they buy it before it ends up at 500 because it never got another reprint. Or same for Battle Styles, or same for Evolving Skies. Look at Evolving Skies. People were probably buying it at 120, 130, 140, 150, thinking it's going to be the next Team Up, not get another print, like this and that. I think having a few sets like that here and there, it's beneficial to them overall because it gets things bought up quicker. Maybe that's too like deep level, maybe that's too tinfoil hat, I don't know, but I think that's fairly valid. If I was in that ivory tower, those would be my two considerations. Do I want to take that big chunk of free money now, or do I want people to like think every set for the next 3 years, is this going to be the next Evolving Skies? FOMO buy now out of the gate. FOMO buy extra. Buy an extra case, buy an extra 2 cases.
That's a good point. I do think that it's hard to know what the Pokemon executives, how much time they actually spend thinking about this stuff. Are we just so deep on the TCG side that we think like super analytical about this stuff and they don't think about this stuff at all, or do they actually consider that? Because to me, that sounds like a good point. That makes sense to me. The other thing that I wonder is, why haven't we seen booster boxes go down in price at all? I know the Umbreon, I think it was Ancient Mew said there was just a sale for like $730 or $740. But that card has been going way down in price, and booster boxes are still like $250, $260 on TCG Player. So they haven't gone down whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to me how people are buying it at that price. But again, I'm not the consumer of that product. I'm a happy seller at that price, and I think I've only got like 5 boxes left or something, because I'm anticipating getting another reprint. But if it doesn't, and if the boxes go to 500, I don't really care. Like, I'm gonna be on to the next thing. Like, people get so hung up on each individual thing and like spend so much time thinking about it. And if you've got a palette of Evolving Skies, it's extremely relevant. If you've got half your investment portfolio in Evolving Skies, it's extremely relevant. But sometimes like people spend hours considering like, I've got this 1 box of Evolving Skies. Should I sell it? Should I buy a second? And it's like, it feels like there's more productive uses of time than getting hung up on the same item, the same product for like, I made a video where I talked about that more in depth. It's like, some people, I remember at work, back when I used to work with people, back when I used to work at a real job, they talk about these cryptos. They talk about this crypto all day, every day for 3 weeks straight. And they talk about how they made their big bet on it and how they're like this, that. And I'm like, how much of this do you own? Oh, I bought like $50 and I'm up to 80. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, you've talked for 20 hours about this. If you had just like been on eBay, because he actually, like, I'm talking about one person in particular, which I probably shouldn't be doing that, but they don't watch this. So like, he actually did some flipping. I'm like, if you were on Facebook Marketplace looking for like a piece of furniture to flip, or looking for like like, he would do cards, he would do furniture, he would do a little bit of everything. And you're putting dozens of hours of time into buying like 20 or 30 of some coin that you might double, you might 10x your money, you might make $500, but like, you could just do that on eBay or Facebook Marketplace anyways. Crazy what some of the people, and this is not towards you, Ancient Mew, this is not towards anyone in particular except that one guy I used to work with. It's towards him in particular. But it is funny how like people will really put so much effort and mental energy. And part of me thinking too, like, if you put this much mental energy into your job, you would probably be making $3, $5 more an hour. Like you would probably have gotten promotions and raises and stuff. But you're yeah. That's probably, hopefully that's not too relevant to some people listening right now. 82 people listening during the day on a weekday.
30 p.m. on a Thursday.
Oh God. Oh man. So Boondock
Okay.
Games.
There's our Evolving Skies talk for the day.
Yeah. We checked that box, the obligatory mentions of certain topics that have to be covered every Pokemon live stream.
Yes. So
Do you think Pokemon Company International is setting up for success, being the second large TCG to make its way through the masses, aka use MTG as an example of what not to do? Absolutely. As I said earlier when we talked on Magic 30th, it's highly relevant. Pokemon should be, and I would presume are paying attention. Pokemon should be, and I'm assuming are paying attention to sports, serialized cards. They should be paying attention to everything. If and when things get dark for them, they were kind of a part of the 90s bubble burst, the junk wax era. They were kind of in that. I mean, Pokemon almost died in the mid-early 2000s. And so they've got the information from what they went through themselves in 1999, but they should be looking at Big Brother Magic. They should be looking at sports. They should be looking at, they should be looking at MetaZoo. They should be looking at these Kickstarter TCGs to some extent. I mean, it's all market research. It's all market data. They're such a huge company. They absolutely employ some people making decent money that I don't know if they're watching PokeFlipz hour and a half in, but if they are, hi, how's it going? But yeah, like they definitely do market analytics. They do market research. They pay attention. They pay attention to things, and they should. And absolutely, whatever is going on here with the 30th, they are aware of it. Someone there is aware of it to some extent, for sure. And that's my thought, at least. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I'd be shocked if they're not like paying attention in the card space. I mean, these are their active competitors. They're trying to win market share from. To some extent.
Exactly. They have to be paying attention to at least Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, all the big TCGs. They have to be paying attention to that type of stuff and learning from Magic's mistakes. Because right now, Pokemon's absolutely killing it, knocking things out of the park, and hopefully they continue to do that. They are definitely seemingly to set themselves up for success in the long term. And hopefully they continue to do that. While you're looking at the next question, Weedle's Warehouse. Trying to pack 50 orders and Christmas music is getting old already. We're gonna have to block you from this chat. I never get sick of Christmas music. I've been listening to Christmas music nonstop since after Thanksgiving, and absolutely love it. But we are glad you are here listening to us now. I guess you can pause Christmas music for a few hours.
I'm getting more into the Christmas spirit, I think, just because my kids are getting a little older, and I'm like actually like the first couple years. It's like it's baby stuff and it's rattles and it's loud, noisy things. But like my son's actually getting into Spider-Man. My son's getting into Pokemon. My son's like, we got him a bike this year. I'm really excited I'm more excited for Christmas than I've been since I was a kid getting gifts myself. Cause I'm really excited for my kids to open their gifts. So I used to be like really anti-Christmas music. Like I want to hear this on Christmas Day. That's it. It's way too much to start like pre-Thanksgiving, but I'm coming around more to it though. And then when my kids like leave the house, between when my kids leave the house and if they ever have grandkids, I'll be like a real Scrooge about it all again. But then when I have grandkids, like it'll come back around, I'm sure. It'll be like a phase thing throughout life.
Mr. Grinch over there.
Yeah. Julia has a question for us. Curious if we talked about the Precious Collector box. Did you buy any of those or no?
I did not buy any of those. Like I said, I don't pay attention to Japanese stuff. So when it originally, like when they were doing pre-orders for way back, I didn't pay much attention to it. I didn't look into it at all. But I definitely do want to pick one up at some point. I don't know if it's best to pick it up now or probably wait a while and then pick a few up. But I've seen it now that it's out and everyone's talking about it, and I think it does look really, really good. So I definitely do want to pick at least one up to keep sealed for myself, and then another one up to actually open myself.
Yeah, I pre-ordered one. I pre-ordered 1 through 10, so I made a video about that back when I did it. It was $80 to ship it to me EMS, but I mean, given what the price,
that in a little bit more.
Yeah, given what the price is doing, obviously I'm in good shape anyways. But it was gonna be $50 to do like by sea 60-day estimate, and I'm like, I'm gonna pay the extra 30 to just get it here. But mine's not in hand. I'm probably just gonna like sit on mine, forget about it. I'm not gonna spec. I'm not gonna make a play trying to buy any from the secondary market. Hindsight, I wish I had picked up a couple more, obviously. But I'm just going to sit on my one. I might crack it someday, try to grade the promo. But for right now, once it comes in, I'm just going to... It'll probably show up in the background somewhere. I'll just sit on it for a while. I know it's kind of like the hot thing, but if history proves like limited collection master battle set, what that did, a lot of those Japanese releases do pretty well over time. So I'll probably just like hang tight on mine for a while. I don't really need like... If I had like 50, if I had scale... I would sell some now, sell some later, kind of like the same play I made with the Celebrations Charizards, or Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection, and the Charizard UPC too, but that one went the other way. But I would, given that I only have one, there's not much consideration. There's not much like play to make. It's just whenever I decide to sell, I sell and it's over.
Yep.
Retro asking who else is knocking out a PSA sub right now, though he asked it 45 minutes ago. That's what I was doing this morning. I'm going to do a PSA sub tomorrow for sure. Are you going to do any more now?
I'll do one next week.
I honestly probably, like I have, if it was 10, I would have a couple thousand to send. I'm going to try to only send like 100. I'm going to try to send 100 at 15 because I think, last time we had 15, I sent like 400. So I'm going to try to send like 100 more now. And I'm going to try to wait till like March. I'm going to have all those cards come back. My first 15's already back. I live streamed it yesterday, 75 cards. So I'm going to try to hold out till March. And if and when 12 comes, then I'll submit more. But I'm going to try to hold out. Aside from 100 cards are going to go first.
Yep. Yeah, definitely do a sub, probably at least 150, all the Top Sun cards that I found. Aside from that, I'll probably do a couple more. So maybe like a 200 card sub at 15, and then that'll probably be it for this year. I don't really have anything else that's ready to go. But then next year, Crown Zenith, probably submit a bunch of those cards because that set's looking really good. So we'll see what it looks like. But that'll probably be my next submission is Crown Zenith.
Yeah. Ancient Mew got us on the Evolving Skies. Naturally, gonna get us on the Umbreon. He's gonna get us on the Umbreon now. Just saw a PSA 10 Umbreon sell for 730. What do you guys think the bottom for that card will be? I'm not super engaged in it. I don't really know what it's going for raw. I know it's been talk of the town. It peaked 1,500, whatever it was. It's come down pretty quick. 730 still feels really high for an ultra modern card in PSA 10. Like, it could go to $300 for all I know. Like, do I think it'll go to 300? Probably not. 500, 400? I don't know. I feel like I'm guessing too much. If I had them, I wouldn't have sold them at 1,500. Because I would have already sold them at 700 on the... Well, I would have already sold them at 700 on the way up. It's like these boxes behind me. Evolutions. I made tens of thousands of dollars on Evolutions. I had dozens of cases, but I sold most of them way too early because the price just didn't make sense to me. $1,500 Moonbreon made no sense. If I had 50 Moonbreons when they were 700 the first time, I probably wouldn't have had one left by the time they hit 1,500. I probably would have sold them all too early. But then today, in hindsight, I would have sold 10 of them at 800, 10 of them at 900, 10 of them at 1,000. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm glad I did that. I missed the peak, but I'm glad I did that. Like, that's my strategy with those cards that I just don't really understand the prices of that much. Like, to me, that, and I know the market's bigger than me. The market doesn't care about my feelings, but like as a business, that card is a sell and move on. Keep it going. Keep it pushing.
100%. Yeah,
But like,
we were talking about it a couple months ago with Mason when it actually was 700 on the way up. And even then we were saying 700 is way too expensive. Definitely going to come down. So yeah,
I had a couple people
stand by that.
I had a couple people send me a clip where I said something about, I think the long-term price trajectory of that card will be a slow trickle down over time. And I did mention, though, I did mention that it could do anything in the interim. I think once it reaches its peak, I think it'll be a slow trickle down from there. And I forget if we said numbers. We might have said 300, 500, something like that. But I had a couple people like, yeah, you were wrong. Like, I wasn't wrong. I said I think it could go up in the interim. I think the bubble, whatever, could, like, it could rise, but I think it's going to kind of just trend down, trend sideways, trend down from there. And from the 730, it might have some crazy little boom cycle where it goes back above 1,000. It might do some crazy stuff in between. But I think long term, and especially in inflation adjusted terms, I think cards like that over a 30-year, 40-year time horizon, I think the all-time high for that card is in real terms, in inflation-adjusted terms. 20 years from now, could that be 2,500, 3,000? Absolutely. But 3,000 in 25 years isn't like, that's less than 1,500 today, inflation-adjusted. So, like, in real terms, I think that card has its all-time high. Its all-time highs behind it, personally. That's my take.
Yeah, I can get behind that with how many are being graded. Umbreon's the talk of the town right now, but eventually it'll be forgotten about and just kind of lost in that whole Sword and Shield era when the new whatever new is out there and everyone wants that card instead.
Yeah, look at all these leaks coming out. Look at all these leaks coming out from that new set. Now there's, oh my god, I can't believe they did gold alt arts. Ooh, gold alt art. Like, everything is coming. Gold alt arts, silver alt arts, shiny alt arts. They're all coming. Like, how is this? I made a joke somewhere, like, artists are gonna art. I don't know why. Like, every time these, like, you're not in Discord. I'm in Discord. Every time these spoilers come out, Discord for like a day or two, or maybe even a week or two, is just like losing its mind. And it's like, this is the same thing we go through every time, people. Artists can continue to draw great art of these creatures we all love. Like, why is it? I understand people are excited, but people are almost acting as if like it's catching them off guard. Like they're surprised. Like, they're going to continue making cool art, and it's going to get cooler and cooler in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, for sure.
People talking about how I should just make my logo Bigfoot. I probably should, because like Bigfoot's in the public domain. I couldn't use MetaZoo's Bigfoot because like MetaZoo actually has, I believe, copyright protection on MetaZoo on their rendition of these characters in the public domain. But like Mothman, Bigfoot, those are in the public domain. You could absolutely, like, I could make some, I could hire somebody to make some Bigfoot logo that would be my thing. Which maybe fits. Maybe it fits the beard and all that. Maybe that's just got to be my brand. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know.
I like it.
Base Blue Boy asks, how do you feel about graded non-hollow vintage cards like Base through Skyridge? Are these going to be junk slabs? You want to take that first?
I don't think they're going to be great investments, but I don't think they'll ever be junk slabs per se. I think like your modern V's, kind of stuff like that. I think those will eventually be more so junk slabs than like your non-hollow WotC cards. Especially if you're talking tens. If you're talking like eights, if you're talking eights and below, those could 100% be junk slabs. If you're talking nines, it's kind of borderline. But then if you're talking tens, I don't think your non-holo WotC cards will ever be junk slabs. I think we will get to a point like we were back a few years ago, where if you're grading those cards and you get a 9, you're going to basically break even. If you get an 8 and below, you're going to lose money, and if you get a 10, you're going to make a small amount of money. Pikachu, Eevee, cards like that selling for $100, $200 still. Those cards are definitely going to go down. But I can see $20, $30 PSA 10s on your non-holo WotC cards. I can't see $20, $30 PSA 10s on your modern V cards. So I think WotC cards are a lot safer. I'm going to continue to send WotC non-holos.
But you're going to sell them when they grade 10s, right? You're going to sell them when they grade 10s?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You're not investing, speculating long-term on them. I've made this point many times. Whether a card is a junk slab or not is all about intent. If you're buying a PSA 10 for $150 of like Jungle Pikachu, I think that's going to go down. I think that's at an all-time high. I think it peaked in 2020. I think it's higher today than it will be in 20 years, inflation adjusted. Even Jungle First Edition Pikachu, Jungle First Edition Eevee. So for me, like, if you have $150 and you want that card as a collector and you value it, it's not a junk slab. If you're an investor buying 50 of that card at 100 a piece or 150 a piece from me or from Nick when we grade them, and you're banking on them being worth more in the future, that to me is a junk slab. Yes, I think that's a bad investment. I think even in 10, I don't think these cards, like if you're picking them up in auction for $20, 15, $20, that's probably fine. But I'm still selling Jungle, Fossil, Rocket. I'm selling some Neo, PSA 10 non-holo first edition cards, commons and uncommons for $100-something bucks. That to me is like way too high. Like you mentioned 30, you mentioned 25, 30. That's more reasonable. But still, I'm not buying those for $25 as an investment. I'm not at all. Like I don't like, if it's your favorite character, if you love the set and you want the whole set in PSA 10, props to you. Absolutely. Like decent value there. It's hard to replace it yourself. But so again, whether they're junk slabs or not, that's up to you. If you think they're going to grow in value, yeah, they might be. If you are doing it as a collector and you have the money, and yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. That's my take. I don't like we've been asked this over the years many times. Like our opinion broadly has been like, even holos, they should really only be graded for 9s or 10s, generally speaking. Unless you're talking about like the big dogs, unless you're talking about Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur, first edition base, gold stars, things like that, shining cards maybe. But yeah, like PSA 10 of a card that was printed 10 million, 50 million times. I just don't see great prospects on that.
No, definitely not.
Thoughts on Chilling Reign booster boxes going up in price and proving that modern Pokemon can be investable. I don't know if that's proving that ultra modern Pokemon can be investable, but I think it's bullish. It's good. It's good for the hobby. I mean, I still have like 10 to 15 cases. I think I have like 80 boxes maybe of Chilling Reign. So I'm happy about it. But I have 80 boxes that I'm going to sell over the coming years. If and when I get a restock, I'll restock them. I'll sell, like, mine are all for sale. They're not really investments. To an extent, I'm holding it. I'm not like blowing them out at today's prices. So I am investing, speculating to some extent on the long-term potential, long-term value of them. But as far as people like shunning traditional investments to just do this, going back to like the cafeteria talk at my old job, I know people that were like, they were buying retail product off the shelf in Walmart, not flipping it into the market. They were buying it as an investment. They were buying Darkness Ablaze ETBs at $50, and they were not participating in our company-sponsored 401k, where if you put in 1% to our 401k, you would get a 4x match immediately. You would 5x your money. $1 would turn into 5 instantly, and they weren't doing that. They weren't tax sheltered. All that, like, that's the stuff that scares me. So if you're investing in ultra modern Pokemon and you're not taking the free match at your company 401k, I can't get behind that.
I think it's a really good sign. I'm happy to see pricing of Chilling Reign especially. But even Battle Styles is back up towards 100. Both of those sets were mid 70s at one point. High, or yeah, like below $80 at one point. Both those boxes were at least below $80. I forget exactly how low, but so to see them Chilling Reign back above 100, Battle Styles back around 100 is really good. But in terms of like long term, I was watching someone yesterday, I forget who it was, but like talking about these like $20 increases in booster boxes. We still have a long ways to go before you could sell them and make like a decent return on them. You really can't sell them, even if you bought at like $80 a box. And now they're $100 a box. You really still can't really sell them and make like a decent bit of money on them. So it is still going to take a long time before you see any like decent returns on those boxes. But for the short term, I think it is really good to see those boxes starting to tick up again, given how many were out there.
Yeah, you really need, like, the cost of transacting in this hobby is very, very high. You need an item to move up 20% so you can sell at break even. So like if you bought Chilling Reign at 80, you need it to go to 100. You probably can't break, like I can't break even. If I sell on eBay, that's $13 down to 87. I can't ship that for $7. So if you bought your Chilling Reign for 80, which is my wholesale price, I bought some on eBay actually cheaper than my wholesale price. I bought like a few cases worth at like 73, 75. But even that, like 75 to 100, congrats, you broke even, maybe. Which people look at the stock market, it's down X%, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, at least I didn't go down. Well, a lot of my Pokemon inventory is down 80, 90% from the 2020 bubble peak too. So I don't know. It's, there's going to be no, like, there's never going to be some day where we like all agree on how the best way, and there's not even a right answer. There's no optimal answer, optimal way to invest. Like everyone's playing a different game. Everyone has different situations. Like we all need to decide these for ourselves. Listen to us, listen to every other podcast, listen to a lot of it, take it all in, make your own decisions from it. That's all you can really do. Because if you just blindly follow somebody who's playing a different game than you might end up losing when they win.
Yeah, exactly.
This was probably when we were talking. Part of the problem being like an hour behind chat. Sometimes we get up to a question from when we were talking about it. Now it's been like half an hour. What do you do with a buyer that makes an offer you accept and then he messages you saying, "Sorry, I already got one of these"? I personally, I let it go 3 days, 5 days, whatever it is, unpaid item strike, and I let it close with a strike against his account. People hate it. People don't want to take personal responsibility, but a lot of people will automatically just say like, "Oh, that sucks." They'll rant about it. They'll let the buyer off the hook. They'll cancel it. They'll accept the cancellation. I decline the cancellation. I say, pay for your item. You want it. Sometimes they pay, and sometimes they do a retaliatory negative feedback, which sucks. But like, I think those problem buyers, not even buyer in this situation, I always want to make them held responsible for it. I want them to get that unpaid item strike. So that's the route that I take. I wish everyone would do that, because then ultimately, like, I set a screen on my eBay. I don't let people with X amount of unpaid item strikes buy from me. I forget how many it is, but that doesn't work though when you don't give them the unpaid item strike. So I always decline returns. I always, even when I know eBay is going to like side with them, I make them go through the motions of that.
Yeah, I'm the same way there. I'll respond back to them. You have 4 days to send payment. If not, I'll just cancel the transaction at that point, and with the reason being that you didn't pay for the item. And then after 4 days, if they don't pay, cancel it as a non-paying buyer, relist it. It's a pain, but that's definitely the way to do it versus letting them get away with it. And I'm the same way. I have mine set up where I forget what the lowest threshold is for the unpaid item strikes, but I have whatever that lowest is. I think it's 2 within 12 months or something like that.
Yeah. I think I have 2 as well. I don't think they let you do 1, which is kind of valid. Give people one
Yeah.
mulligan.
One mulligan.
I just jumped to the bottom. Let me. Okay, I'm back to where I was. Trying to find the next question. With such a healthy TCG environment right now, why do you feel there aren't more successful new card games hitting the market? It seems like a lot of old IPs, but nothing super innovative. It'll be interesting 10 years from now to look back, because like the internet is weird. A lot of these, honestly, like this might feel like a weird take, but maybe not though, given that I partnered with MetaZoo. A lot of these new Kickstarter TCGs are just instantly being written off. Cash grab, shill, pump and dump, rug pull, like all these buzzwords from the past year or two. And like I was actually just I think the person in here that is in here that was talking about it, but there's a big Pokemon content creator apparently that is starting some Kickstarter TCG, and I think it's got like $1 million funding. And I'm not trying to pump this. I've not like subscribed to it. I've not funded it. I'm not going to. But like at the end of the day, absolutely, they could be just trying to milk people for what they're worth. They could though be passionate about the game, honestly. Like I don't know them. A lot of people, I mean, I'm partnered with MetaZoo. A lot of people look at it, oh my God, I can't believe they sent free product to people to shill it, this, that, all this, like advertising, marketing, like any company, any business does, just gets like demonized. So like, how would one release a game today without it being called a rug pull, cash grab, shill, whatever you want to call it? How would one do that? Because anytime you market, anytime you try to advertise, that's what you get called. So like, that's part of it. Part of it is because we live in this toxic social media, internet culture that is just going to immediately like stomp down anything that tries to be new and innovative. So that's my one take. And how I don't have the solution for that though. Like I don't know how to pick out which ones, because some of those exist, which makes it harder. The rotten apple spoil the bunch. Like it's hard to pick out. Some of those are happening, absolutely. Which ones are legitimate, which ones are not? Nearly an impossible task. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't know what the solution is. Part of the solution is to not like try to like kill these people over marketing. Let oh my God, MetaZoo sent people sample packs to open. They sent them to influencers. They advertised. Like what? What? Yes, they did. Yes. Take over before I keep going.
Biggest thing for me is so like Pokemon back in the day. I would have never gotten into Pokemon if it wasn't such like a global thing where every one of my friends was talking about Pokemon. I was never big into any cards or anime or anything like that. I was always into the video games until Pokemon came out. And then I got into Pokemon because all of my friends were into it. So I think that's the biggest thing of why you can't have a new TCG succeed and thrive and all that stuff. You need it to be the next like global phenomenon. And we just haven't seen that yet. We saw it with Magic, we saw it with Yu-Gi-Oh, we saw it with Pokemon. We haven't seen it since then for a new TCG. And I think that's the biggest thing is you have these new TCGs come out. You have a lot of interest in the beginning, and then very slowly or quickly, depending on like which TCG you're talking about, the interest is going to die off. People are going to start forgetting about it, and it's eventually just going to die off. So I think that's the biggest reason is you need to have a lot of people engaged right out of the gate. And I think more importantly is it needs to be kids that are engaged with the new TCG. I don't think so. Like MetaZoo, for example, the kids aren't interested in MetaZoo. It's people our age who came from Pokemon who are interested in MetaZoo. Obviously, there's a few exceptions to that, but for the most part, I I don't think many kids are interested in MetaZoo. I think it's mainly people our age who came from Pokemon, Magic, whatever, and then got into MetaZoo. And now that MetaZoo is being less talked about, it's becoming less popular already. So I think you need a lot of interest, and you need to have kids who are interested in the hobby, so that way they come back to it in 10, 20 years, whatever.
You know, I was gonna actually use MetaZoo, and again, like, know my bias, know that I'm a MetaZoo partner. That should always be held in context when I talk about it. Absolutely. Like, a lot of people would look at MetaZoo and say it's failed, nobody cares about it. They don't care about it, so it's failed and no one cares about it. MetaZoo, in my opinion, is a successful new card game that just hit the market 2 years ago. MetaZoo is like, it doesn't need to dethrone Pokemon. It doesn't need to dethrone Magic. There's a lot of room in between being dead and not making any more product and Pokemon. Like, there's a lot of room down here to have a big, successful, thriving business that is just not as big as those. Like, I don't think MetaZoo personally is going to knock off Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Magic, but I could see Pokemon or MetaZoo sticking around 10 years from now, being a thing that is just smaller. Like, that's fine. Like, it doesn't have to be as big. And like MetaZoo, Seance, that they released, like, they went through two releases. They went through Wilderness and UFO, 100,000 boxes each. That's a lot of boxes. That's a lot of printing. Those tanked to, like, they were like 50, 60 bucks, but they didn't go to 40. They didn't go to 30. I think some people don't see how much value there is, how important it is that they hit a floor. And if you look at the TCG player, they've actually come up some. People are actually buying them. What the volume is, like, it's not Pokemon, guys. It's not Pokemon. Absolutely. I know I'm not trying to say that, but Seance, they looked at the market. They said 100,000 was too much. They made 50,000. That box is 90 right now. Like, like, to me, like, a lot of people hate MetaZoo. I know. People love to hate MetaZoo. I know it. But, like, to me, that's a successful TCG right now. They have a competitive circuit. They're giving out a ton of prizes. People demonize them giving out big prize pools because, like, again, it's evil to pay your players money. It's how people say, like, a big prize pool is bad. Like, people spin that into a bad thing. I don't get it. People are weird. But yeah, like, I mean, they have competitive scene. Not as big as Pokemon. Not as big as Magic. No, that's fine. It can be. I don't get it. People are just kind of weird, in my opinion. That's all I can really say. That's been the theme of the past 24 hours in my live streams.
It's a good theme, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. That whole, what was the latest MetaZoo set? Seance. That whole Seance release event kind of soured my taste for MetaZoo. Yeah, I don't know anymore. It was just a weird thing, and I had, like, a decent expectation for MetaZoo before that, but then I went to it and it was, like, not what I was expecting whatsoever. So it was, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens to MetaZoo over the next couple of years. I can't see them lasting. Maybe, like what you're saying, they'll just keep lowering the print runs until they're making 10 boxes a set,
Yeah.
and it'll just be Basic Trainer and you who are interested in it. But I don't know. I can't. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I can't see it lasting forever, or not forever, but like 5-10 years from now. I think the interest is just going to keep dying out. I think they're doing a lot of good things. They have a lot of ambitious plans, but I think the interest is just slowly dying out, and I think that's going to continue. But it'll be interesting to see.
You're not in those communities, so how would you know that? Like, you went to the one event. Like, I'm honestly, I'm not as into MetaZoo YouTube as I am Pokemon YouTube. I'm in a couple MetaZoo Discords. I'm in a couple MetaZoo Facebook groups. But to me, like, people have always said since the beginning, people have said that no one plays the game, no one collects it. I've interacted with a lot of people who do both. So, like, I don't know where these people are getting their information from. I don't know where your information's from. Like, I've been selling it fairly consistently, just like Pokemon. New release, you sell a lot more. It wanes down from there. The next set comes out, I'll sell a lot more. These floor, I don't have them behind me, but these lunchbox tins, these floor t-shirts, like, I don't know. I'm selling a lot of it. People who have no involvement in it seem to have a lot of opinions, and some of that again goes back to, like, the general internet culture toxicity. Just like, like that's part going back to the question. Why do you feel like there aren't more successful new card games? Because people are just like the way they are about marketing and advertising, and people are the way they are about it either needs to be Pokemon or bust. It needs to dethrone Pokemon or bust. It is just a strange take.
Yeah,
And then
I'm not one who's out to get MetaZoo either. I could care less.
I see like in the
really.
chat. I see in the chat like who are the big MetaZoo tubers? I know a few of them. I know a few of them that are like partners. I mean, so I know like Caster Society does a bunch of stuff. I know a handful of people, but like I can't name any Magic ones. Magic is massive. Who are Magic tubers? I don't know any. Who are Yu-Gi-Oh tubers? I know Ruxin. That's all I know.
Yep.
Like it is not valid to say I as a Pokemon person cannot name a single. That doesn't mean anything. Like I can't name like you know what I'm saying? Isn't that a valid like
Yeah. No, it definitely makes sense because I know, like me, I say these things, but at the same time, I don't follow MetaZoo. This is strictly my opinion with very little research done.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's a lot of people cried about MetaZoo. A lot of people cried about Magic 30th anniversary. A lot of it is what it is. Like life goes on. I don't really let it. I don't let it like the fact that something's existence can ruin someone's day when it has no effect on them whatsoever. That is like it's actually sad. I know people in my real life. I know family members, friends, cousins, like I know people and I'm not political at all. I don't get involved in politics, but I know people who get so wrapped up in it. They get so energized by it and they get so like they think that the wrong team being in the White House like completely just dishevels their whole life when at the end of the day like it has almost no effect on what they're doing day to day and like they blame their like, again people just like to externalize all these demons. They're the hero. They're being kept down. That's a common theme. And Pokemon people who are hurt, where did MetaZoo hurt you? Show me on the doll. Where did MetaZoo? Where did MetaZoo hurt you on the doll? Show me. Where did Magic 30th hurt you? Point it out.
No, that's definitely that side I don't understand. Why people hate it so much and want to see it fail. That I don't understand. But at the same time, I don't know what'll happen to it. Just like seeing how much it was talked about at release compared to how much it's talked about now, or at least how much I'm seeing, how much I started talked about at release versus how much I'm seeing it being talked about now. It's a lot less.
Yeah, again, like I don't have that same experience, but that's because I'm a partner now. I'm in the community a little bit more. So like, and again, maybe that's my bias. Maybe I've got a skewed view. Maybe the beginning. I mean, it might be dead in a year. I don't think so. I'm betting against that, and I don't believe so at all. I believe it'll be a thing in 5 years. Clip it. I have a date somewhere on a notepad. I have a date written down. Remember that?
Before. I think we said 10 years before.
No. It was like 2024. I want to say. I put it in my Google Calendar. I remember. So the day that comes, I will either admit defeat or I will rub it in your face that it's still a thing. And honestly, like if it's still a thing, some people would say, well, it didn't pass Pokemon yet. Well, it didn't pass Magic yet. Like, I don't care. It probably won't ever. It doesn't have to. Like, there's a lot of room between like where they are and Pokemon. And like, you can live down here. It's fine. It's fine. Like, you don't have to be the biggest TCG in the world. Mike probably wants it to be. Yeah. It's his passion. It's his baby. I would want it to be if it were mine. But
exactly.
Yeah, like
it'll never happen, but
yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Wheels Warehouse asked about my Evolutions play that I talked about half an hour ago. Were the cases just stale inventory that you didn't want to take a loss on, or were you holding them for the long-term play? So I think I did a video, or maybe I intend to do a video, where I talk about my like specific Evolutions play. I kind of saw the writing on the wall for a bit, not nearly to the extent that it was, but I got a last call email from distributors, and I ordered like 10 or 12 cases. And then every week the price was going up. I could still get them, but Evolutions was like 80. And then it was 86. And then it was 90. And then it was 95, 100, 105. The whole time I was just churning and burning. Like for whatever reason, I was able to sell them on eBay for like 650 a case when for the past 4 years they weren't selling at 600. They weren't moving. And then the next week they were doing like 800. And then they were doing 1,000. And then and like I actually remember thinking about it. I called up my rep and I said, can I get like, I contemplated doing like 100 cases. And I talked to my dad. I didn't have the cash flow at the time. I talked to my dad. I'm like, I contemplated bringing in like angel investor funding from my dad to just buy like a pallet of it or something. And I didn't go ahead with it. And, clearly it would have went well, but I don't remember the exact numbers. I could go through. I have all that, and maybe I thought I did that for a video, but maybe I didn't. I'll have to go back through and actually make a video about it. But I think I sold my last full case for like 5K. I probably didn't quite hit the top. 4K, 5K, a lot. Whatever it was a lot. And this is my last box. I'll never sell this box probably, just because like that whole mania bubble, whatever you want to call it, like that box, when I look at it, I just remember that. And I think the knowledge of that, whether or not it will ever happen again, but like knowing that it happened that once and just keeping that in my mind, it's valuable to remember that, I think.
Oh, yeah. I just got...
You were on the ship, or you just
that?
came off the you just came off the ship, or how'd the timing with that work?
It just worked out perfectly for me. It was actually funny. I forget her name. Anyway, I was on a live stream. That's gonna bug me. But
PokeGal?
Yes, PokeGal. Yeah. I was on a live stream with her, and she brought it up how I did right before I left for my shipping job. I did a video talking about Evolutions and how I had booster boxes, blister packs, all of this stuff that I had bought back in 2016. It hadn't moved a penny. So I finally started selling it all, sold it all. I left for my shipping job. Like a month into that, I got the email from Mad Al saying, last call for Evolutions. Luckily, I bought some. I forget exactly how much I bought. It might have been 8 to 10 cases, something like that. I forget exactly. But anyway, I told them I was working on the ship. If they could hold it, that would be perfect. They said no problem. So they set it aside for me. By the time I got home, it was already $400 or $500 a box. So I got home, had them ship all the boxes to me, and I sold them all at $400 to $500 a box.
You sold too early. But your paper hands that.
If I wasn't on the ship, I would have sold all the way up, and probably would have sold them all by the time it got to 500. So I'm glad it worked out that way for me.
The Mexican hipster asks why we don't say his handle name out loud. I think we've definitely both said the Mexican hipster out loud.
If we haven't, now we have the Mexican hipster.
There we go. You got it from both of us. Sorry, I cut you off. What were you gonna finish with?
I was just gonna say, Evolutions was that was a very interesting thing. Everyone was so sick of it, and then all of a sudden, once it stopped getting reprinted, it just skyrocketed, and it's still it's come down a little bit from its peak, but it's still $700-800 a box, which is crazy to think about. Because there was a solid 4-year window where nobody wanted that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Ray says, I put 18% into my 401k. Is that enough? That is probably much higher than your peers. That is probably a very good number. If you make, I don't know what you make and you don't have to say. If you make 100k a year though, you're pretty close to maxing out. So that's very, very solid. Not financial advice, but you're probably better off and further along than most people your age, if I had to guess. And Swami actually mentions on 401ks, his company does 5% regardless of if you contribute. That's great. I wish more companies would do that, because where I used to work, you had to enroll in it. You had to put in 1%, and then they'd give you 4 for free. And like 20% of the company didn't contribute. Like, how could you not take a free Forex, tax shielded? You could literally you could put in 1%, get the free 4%, and then like it was like 3 or 4 years to vest, but then you could just pull it all out and pay the penalties if you wanted. It would not be smart to, I don't think, but like it was free money.
Yeah, exactly. No, if your company's doing matching or contributing to your 401k, it's a no-brainer. Unfortunately, with my job, they never did that. So I shipped out for 5 years. First 2 years I didn't put anything in, and then I started putting some stuff in afterwards. But it sucks that they didn't contribute at all.
My new boss is amazing. He matches 25% of what I put in. The guy, he lets me take lunches whenever I want, as long as I want. 25% employer match. My new boss is the man.
Not the same.
He is awesome.
That's not free money.
I mean, it says Catch 'em All Collectibles Incorporated on the check.
Yeah, but you're the one putting those checks in there.
We don't need to talk about that. Just my boss is a good guy, is all you need to know. I think we're getting close to catching up. It keeps jumping to the bottom. It keeps jumping to the bottom, which is terrible. Okay, here we go. People talking about loving breaking even. People don't look at eBay fees or shipping.
That is 100% true.
Yeah. Colson is actually talking about the Kickstarter that I alluded to was actually mentioned in the chat, and Colson was the one I was in a conversation with the other day in Discord, and it's just hard to tell. It's hard to tell his motivation. If he's passionate about it, it's all fair play. Like, it's a Pokemon ripoff, it's this, it's that. At the end of the day, like, if the person's actually passionate about it, people can start a TCG if they want, and if people want, like, there's this weird dynamic where people who the parasocial relationship, people who follow him will buy it so that they can be like closer to him, be friends with him, make money with him. Like, if everyone's just stonking on it, this and that, it's just a weird environment.
Yeah. And if he's I don't know which you're talking about, but if he's a big YouTuber, then that'll absolutely 100% happen. There'll be a good portion of people who just buy it because of it's him. And because they want to stonk out on it.
Yeah, B Purple Poker says, why don't I mention Nightfall? Nightfall's come down a ton. Absolutely. Like, yeah, Nightfall's fallen. Most Pokemon has fallen 50 to 80%. Okay. I don't know what the point is there.
I thought Nightfall was doing well, actually.
I think it's like 100.
Isn't it still like
a little
180?
No, it's like 120-ish maybe. It's fallen a lot. It's fallen a lot. But what did it peak at? I honestly forget what it peaked at. Not much over 200, was it?
I have no idea.
I don't know what it's if it peaked at 200, it's fallen 50%. So it has a lot of Pokemon. Not as much the boxes, but I mean there's a lot of Pokemon product that fell 90% and might still have 50% to go. I'm not saying people B Purple Poker is actually funny. He's had some funny comments on some of my recent videos. But I'm not saying people are weird because they don't like MetaZoo. I'm saying people are weird with respect to how they handle marketing and advertising and how like Nick and I talking about the $2,000 gold Pikachu. We weren't offended. We didn't victimize ourselves over that. It was too expensive for us, and we didn't buy it, and we moved on. The way people cry and feel like they're being mortally wounded over a product that's not for them. like the way that Rudy's sarcastically saying and Professor Tolarian Community College are sarcastically saying the product's not for you. It's fine for a product to not be for you. Fine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Let's see. We're in a big MetaZoo point. What's the reason for MetaZoo having a smaller print run to sell out? The reason for having a smaller print run, you don't want to overproduce. Overproduction can kill card games. Overproduction is semi-killing Magic right now. Like, people have this weird thing too, where like Pokemon is massive. Pokemon is printing like millions of boxes of some of these sets. And obviously, they've been around 25 years. They're huge. But Pokemon, if they printed in extreme, I don't know what the numbers are, so I don't know. Like, they printed 9.1 billion cards in 2020, and it really wasn't enough. If they printed 100 billion cards, if they printed 10x, it would have been too much. Like, Pokemon could print itself to death. They won't, but they could. Like, I don't know why people don't think supply is like, because that's one criticism. So, hilarious thing with MetaZoo. MetaZoo was bashed out of the gate for it artificially not printing enough. Do you remember that? MetaZoo was bashed for only printing 2,500. Oh my God, the boxes are 500. They're artificial, stonking everything to the moon, rug pull, like all these stupid words that people say. That was the criticism of MetaZoo for the first year. And then MetaZoo printed 50,000 Nightfall, and it still went big. So then they printed 100,000. Wilderness held up fine. Wilderness held up fine for a couple months. And then it went down. A lot of markets went down. The stock market went down. Like, the whole broader economy is doing certain things, and it has an effect on these card games. Rudy made a ton of videos. You need to tighten print runs. He said that before UFO, and MetaZoo didn't for UFO. It might have been too late. And Rudy was like, yeah, the people that are tightening print runs are doing better. Pokemon's doing awesome. Magic's not doing great. Flesh and Blood's doing better. MetaZoo's doing better now. In hindsight, he's saying now MetaZoo's doing better with Seance. He's mentioned it. Like, it's not an artificial, like, people are so weird. That's the right word. Like, people are weird. People say, oh my God, MetaZoo just cut their print run in half so that they can artificially hold up the price of Seance, so that they can this, that, stonk, rug pull, chill, whatever. Like, no, supply and demand. The demand wasn't there for Wilderness and UFO at 100K boxes, so they cut supply. Pokemon, year over year, for the most part in the past several years, has been increasing their production. Last year, they did 9.1 billion cards. Next year, I don't know. The number could be 15 billion or it could be 5 billion. I have no idea. If and when it's 5 billion, well, if and when it's 5 billion,
not a chance we'll see over 9 billion next year.
We could. I mean, I have no idea. But if and when they print 5 billion, will people say, oh my God, Pokemon, what a scam. They're artificially, they lowered the print run by 50% so that it could not go to like the floor. Like, no, that's just business. That's supply and demand. You don't overproduce like what the market wants. So again, people just have these weird, terrible takes on like, how is it negative? Mr. Walrus, this is not pointed towards you. You asked the question. Having a smaller print run because of supply and demand. Because of supply and demand. That's why. Like, am I crazy, Nick? 100,000, the box goes to 50.
The print runs make perfect sense. That's just any business would lower the print runs if they saw boxes selling for $50-$60. So obviously you're gonna decrease the supply. Demand is probably going to stay around the same, so that way pricing is going to go up. Biggest thing for me though is the so like Seance is $90 a box right now, roughly, on TCG Player. But how much of the Seance, how much of that 50,000 box supply is available to sellers with the non-map pricing? That's my biggest thing with MetaZoo right now. Is they're getting away from distribution to work with partners who have to follow certain pricing guidelines. So not all of the 50,000 Seance boxes are available for sale at $90 a box. I would say, who knows how many are, but it's less than sets in the past. because MetaZoo is getting away from distribution, and they are trying to artificially keep a certain price point.
Substantially less, like probably less than, like I bought 1% of the print run. I bought 500 boxes, but that's literally the most I was allowed to buy. Substantially less than 50%. I think there's only 50 partners. If every partner took the full allocation, which nowhere near that did, I think like a few of us did. So if I had to guess, it's probably between 10 and 20% of the of the print run went to partners, and so many partners are violating map. Like, and what it is, but so many are doing bundles that you're not supposed to be able to do. So like most of those boxes are going out, buy one, get one, buy two, get a free UFO box. Like a lot of people are circumventing map that you're not supposed to do. But that is, okay. I've had conversations on the map, and it is, I don't know whether it's the best thing. Clearly, I mean, they can run it how they see fit. Map exists in other industries too. Like map's very much a thing. But this whole thing about like, the narrative was funny. The first year, they're intentionally underproducing it. And then the second year, oh my God, they're printing way too much. And now it's like, well, they only cut their print run to stonk it up. Yeah, they cut their print run to help keep the prices, because you need to keep the prices. You can't have an environment. You can't have an ecosystem where boxes are going for less than LGSs are paying for it. Mason said it yesterday in my live stream. Ask Mason how it goes when you're buying a Magic box for 100 and Magic selling it for 60. That's a different thing entirely, because it's Magic selling it themselves. But yeah, just a strange thing, a strange conversation around. Olsen says, "I like this new Dan." I feel like I'm getting like worked up a bunch. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
You've had too much coffee today.
I don't do coffee. I don't even do coffee. Imagine if I did.
Man, I couldn't imagine that.
Let's see. A bunch of people lost money on MetaZoo. Yeah, a ton of people lost money on Pokemon too. I sold high as
Pokemon.
I sold high six figures of Pokemon cards in 2020. All of those, aside from maybe like a Plasma Storm ETB, went down. Like, I don't know. There's very little that, like, I kept some stuff from 2020 that didn't go down. I kept some stuff from 2020 that went up, and I'm selling it now. But almost everything I sold in 2020. Let me just say some of the things I sold that people lost money on. $1,000 Pikachus and Eevees, $400 base unlimited Charmanders, $200 Jungle Fossil First Edition anything, common and uncommon, $6,000 base unlimited Charizards, PSA 9. Most of these things I sold many, many multiples of. One PSA 9 base Shadowless set for $35,000. I sold a PSA 9 base unlimited set for $12,000. Multiple. I sold a couple of those. A lot of people lost money on Magic. A lot of people lost money in the stock market, on MetaZoo. A lot of people lost money in crypto. A lot of people lost money everywhere.
People lost on everything. So yeah, that's not a good comparison. What do you have that went up since 2020?
My trophy Pikachus. In February of 2020, I bought my trophy Pikachu for like, I bought it for like 20K with all the festivals. I bought my number one Pikachu for like 12K, maybe 13K, 14, somewhere in there. I don't even know exactly what it would have been. And it went up and it's come down. Like from 2020, it's up a bunch. And that was early 2020. But still, they were selling cheaper than that.
Before all the craziness. I bet it, who knows? It would have been interesting to see what an auction would go for if you auctioned it in October.
It would have been awesome to see. Yeah, I was too scared though. Way too scared. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, chat. I see someone said chat kind of spicy. People are getting a little riled up. Yeah, like I see one message. One message that got blocked, and thank you, Professor Oak, for doing some moderating. Thank you for wielding your wrench power. But I think it's important to like this take, it was a post that says new TCGs are scams. A lot of people say and think that.
I think
That
a
makes
lot of them are.
a lot of, like, some of them might be, absolutely. You need to be careful, but like to just say that blanket, you can't say that blanket. Like it doesn't make sense. Like no TCG can be
No.
created today that is valid, that people have a passion about, that people like will care about and play in the future. That's just such a weird statement to make. Be careful. If you go invest into a Kickstarter, if you go buy into a Kickstarter, be careful. Some of them are pump and dump, rug pull, whatever. Like some of that, yes. But you can't just broadly say like anything coming out today, we're not even going to give it a
Yeah.
shot. Like Pokemon, Magic, and Yu-Gi-Oh are here and we don't need anything else. That doesn't make any sense. That's so weird.
Yeah, I wouldn't say TCGs. I would more say Kickstarter. Is there's a lot of scammy stuff on Kickstarter in general. So yeah, just like what you said, be careful.
Be careful in
Obviously, there are
Pokemon
some
too.
really good companies on Kickstarter.
Be
What?
careful anywhere. Like be careful in Pokemon too. There's a lot of
Yeah.
things that are high today that aren't going to be that high. They're a lot of things like Moonbreon. If you bought a Moonbreon 2 months ago for 1,500, you should have been more careful. It could have been 2,000 today. It could have done any crazy thing where it's going to be in 10 years. Who knows? But anyways, on to a different topic. But Cyber Urchins Pokemon.
Covered that thoroughly.
Yeah. Do y'all pay different eBay fee percentage than when you started on eBay? And how long did it take for those percents to change? Yes, I pay higher than when I started because eBay fees have gone up in the 18 years I've been on eBay. Unfortunately, I'm selling like this year I'll sell approximately $500,000. $500,000 I'll sell through eBay this year, approximately.
No, you'll do more than that, won't you?
No, I'm doing so much more on Evo than I did in the past. Maybe a little higher with consignments and stuff now, but about $500,000 on eBay. 10,000 a week. Higher than I've ever sold, but still not high enough to get contracted rates. I'll only say it because he says it publicly. James and Cam, ZNG Emporium. He has sold $2 million or maybe $1 million over the past 6 months. $2 million annualized, and he's still not contracted. So I don't know when it starts happening. Rusty, I don't know what percent he pays, and he can't publicly say it. But he's contracted. He's mentioned that he's contracted, and probably higher than $2 million a year if I had to guess, just because James and Cam don't have it yet. I don't have it at 500K. What do you do, and where are you at? Like, you're not contracted. You're probably around the same as me.
I think I'll probably end a little bit higher than you, which I'm surprised by. But yeah, right around there. And no, definitely not contracted. You have to be a lot higher than us, and higher than James is where we'll leave it. But there are definitely people who do get a lot lower percentage. They're obviously selling a ton of stuff, but maybe one day.
Brad, the Zard Hunter, Dan, quote, everybody is weird and I'm a good guy. One, I didn't say that. That is not an actual quote. I'm weird too. I know that I'm weird too. Everyone is a little weird. People have weird, like, their opinions. People are allowed their opinions. But when you have an opinion that like no new TCG can ever start because they're all invalid, I think that's getting into the point of objectively just like wrong. Like people try to use opinion sometimes to just hold wrong facts, provable wrong facts as opinion. And that doesn't fly. But no, question me. Like, hear everything I say, agree with it or don't agree with it, but don't just blindly follow anybody. Nobody is a good enough guy. Nobody should just be blindly followed. Be your own person. Absolutely. Like, these are my own rants, these are my own opinions. Do what you want to do. Mr. Walrus has a cool philosophical question that I'll let you start with. Is there a difference if you make something for money or passion and still sell it?
Is there, read that again? Is there a difference between making something for money
or for passion
and selling it?
And still sell it, yeah.
I would say so, like, if you're making something strictly for a profit, you're probably going to have less passion towards it. But if you're making something for passion and selling it, you're gonna have more passion towards it. So I would say in the long run, if you're just strictly looking at it as a business, you're probably not gonna do as well. Versus if you're passionate about it and it's also your business, you're gonna be better off. Hopefully, does that make sense?
Yeah, people have strange like some people really hate capitalism. I personally like capitalism largely. People villainize money. People villainize like getting money for like you should draw art and give it away for free. Everyone is owed all of your production, all of your like whatever you do in life. You shouldn't profit from it because that just taints it. Like that's just a weird take to me. I'm saying weird way too much today, but I'm stuck on it now. Uh, yeah, like a lot of masters of their crafts, a lot of people who make like handmade furniture. They love it's a passion. They love it. They've refined their skills over a lifetime, and there's no difference to me whether they donate all of those because they're in the financial place to where they don't have to sell it, or whether they like sell them for a bunch of money because they're like handcrafted, like fine furniture that's really, really good. And people, there's a demand for it in the market. Like some people, the second that money comes into it, it just taints everything and everything's villainized. And I just don't understand that personally. Shiny Light Bulb is bringing up. Yeah, Shiny Light Bulb, very much agree. Capitalism has problems when it comes to essentials. If you have a monopoly on water, that's a problem. Very, very much. I'm not like, again, I don't want to devolve this into politics, but yeah, agree. I guess I'll say. What Pokemon boxes after the pump fell below $100 in Pokemon? I'll wait. Yeah, Battle Styles, Chilling Reign, Fusion Strike, a ton of them. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Every one of them except Evolving Skies. Even Evolving Skies was, I think there was a very brief period where Evolving Skies was like 95, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, Evolving Skies definitely went sub 100 for a short while there. Absolutely. Like, if you went on TCG Player, I don't know that it would show it. TCG Player definitely doesn't always show like the complete depths of where something goes. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm engaging too much with this user in particular. TCG Player only shows a year, but TCG Player in December of 2021 shows.
I wish they had like historic data. That would be cool to see.
It shows 110 in December of 2021. I almost guarantee you could have gotten 99, 95 somewhere in there on eBay at the same time, because a lot of times you can get a little bit cheaper on eBay than TCG Player. But anyways, it's many other sets prove that point anyways.
And we are talking below 100, not at 100. 95 is less than 100.
Yeah. Swami wants to know.
So it's like 75 that Battle Styles and Chilling Reign was at.
Swami wants to know, what are your hobbies outside Pokemon, or are you consumed with the job/events, etc.? Yeah, he asked you in particular, but I'm going to answer too, Swami.
He doesn't care about you. I like it. You can go ahead.
I play a little bit of video games. I've never considered myself like a big gamer, but periodically throughout my life, I've always played something or other. Pokemon for from 1999, 2000 to 2003 or so was one of the main ones. But a little bit of video games, a little bit of sports. Before I had kids, I used to do more pickup basketball, volleyball, softball, things like that with friends, family. Kickball I did like one of those adult kickball leagues, which was a ton of fun with some coworkers and friends. So like athletics, outdoors, camping, hiking, traveling, things like that. With the past 2 years has been weird with the pandemic and all that, and then with kids. Like my son is 4, so for the past 4 years we would have been indoors more anyways because of having a newborn and just not being like as travel-y and stuff. But then the pandemic like really doubled down on that. Then we had a second kid in it. So like the past few years, I've gotten away of a lot of it. But board games too. I actually really love board games. My wife and I have been starting to play those more a little bit. So those are some for me. What about you?
Um, I so really like golfing. That's winding down since it's getting colder out. And then mountain biking for me is another one. Those are kind of my two biggest things. Video games I used to play a lot. I occasionally play a little bit nowadays, not very regularly. A lot of time is to eBay, sorting through Pokemon cards, stuff like that. At usually during the week more so. Weekends are still work with some fun mixed in, but I enjoy work too. So when I'm at night, when I'm sitting watching TV, I'll be sorting through cards. I can't just sit there and watch something. Occasionally, if it's like a really good movie or a really good show, I'll sit there and watch it. But for the most part, if I'm just sitting there watching something, I feel like I'm not getting anything accomplished. And it just like makes me super anxious. So if I can sit there and go through cards, that's like an ideal scenario for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna do one last B purple poker thing, and then I'm gonna try to stop. Speak on Black Border MetaZoo sample cards. They were giving those away to Steve Aoki and other shillers. Is that negativity or facts? No, it is facts that MetaZoo advertised by giving away sample cards to their Kickstarter TCG. That is what new businesses, new companies do. They give away sample product. If you're if you're someday, I might do like barbecue. I've actually done, like, my dad and I, we've done some like graduation parties. We've done some like birthday parties, things like that. Someday I might sell like a barbecue sauce or something. If and when I ever decided to like ultimately market and sell a barbecue sauce, what do you think I would do? Do you think I might reach out to some local restaurants and ask if they'd like sell the bottles? Do you think I might reach out to some local restaurants? Hey, can I work this into a dish for a week or for a month? Can we do some kind of a promotion where you give out the bottles, where you let people taste it for free, where you try to like expand my brand? And like, that's marketing. Why do people hate marketing? Why do people hate advertising? It's so weird. It's so weird. Imagine like, am I making sense, or is B Purple Poker right?
No, you are 100% making sense. I would hope you would give some of your barbecue sauce to your favorite Pokemon YouTuber, aka me.
Absolutely. Like if it wasn't so hard to ship, and if it wasn't such a worry. Like I after we visited Rusty's, after we visited Swami's, I sent like a little bit of a care package of like local stuff. If I wasn't putting them in glass bottles, maybe I would have included a bottle of that. But yeah, it's just really, it's like I've been to food festival type things where like, hey, there's a brand new food truck in town and they're free all day long. Like they're not like, they're giving it away. And oh my God, that one guy, he writes local food reviews in the newspaper. He has, like, we have a local food Facebook page. It's like my area code food review, whatever it is. And when a new restaurant launches, who do you think they want to give some free product to write like a review? That's the world. Yeah, exactly. That's the way. Like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah, no. Free stuff is like the best form of marketing. Yeah, everyone likes free stuff, so why not?
I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna try. We have 45 more minutes. I'm gonna try to so I'm at 3:30. 15 minutes. I'm gonna try to like power through these 15 minutes and go over some things. If you have any questions related to the Pokemon market, if you have any questions related to Silver Tempest or Crown Zenith or V-Star Climax Universe, whatever all these sets are called, let us know in the comments.
V-Star Climax Universe.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get back on topic, but maybe not. Let me I just jumped to the bottom again. I hate this.
Oh man. I
Um,
like Professor Oak's name for you. Ketchup
what's he?
all collective sauces.
I can't stand ketchup. What I think what I did was from the ages of like
Is the
two,
greatest condiment of all time.
from the ages of 2 to 10, I ate a lifetime worth of ketchup. I put it on my mac and cheese. I put it on bologna sandwiches. I put it on my Thanksgiving turkey. I put it on scrambled eggs. Every food
Ugh.
got ketchup. And I think honestly, I turned 10. I consumed a lifetime's worth of ketchup, and I can't do it anymore. I can't. I don't like ketchup. Ugh.
Even on like French fries.
No. Barbecue sauce or hot
What?
sauce. Yep.
You
Or like
weirdo.
cheese. Or cheese.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. No,
Ugh.
it's gonna be ketchup or honey mustard. The two
One
greatest condiments of all time.
I apologize everyone, I lied. One more bit of BPP. Y'all don't talk about Digimon and it's a legit TCG. Why is that? Cuz they didn't sponsor you. They don't interest me. I actually recently bought some Naruto and DBZ, and you can make the complaint that, oh, he's talking about Naruto and DBZ now because he owns it and he wants to shill it. I'm just talking about what I'm transacting in. I'm talking about what I do business in. I'm not ever trying to pump anything. I actually frequently say like buy auctions, don't buy it nows. All I sell is buy it nows. A lot of times I try to talk people out of buying my stuff. That's literally what I do.
It's a
I
good
it's
business
funny.
model there.
I've had more than one consigner reach out to me and say like, I agree with a lot of your content. I love a lot of your content, but isn't it a little concerning to you that you're actively selling the things that you're telling people not to buy? And I'm like, well, one, I'm a tiny little YouTuber, and most of my eBay buyers don't see this. But at the end of the day, like I said, do buy it. If you have the money and you want it, buy it. If you're buying it solely for it going up, please don't. Like, or I mean, do but know the risks. What like, yeah. Sorry, I had to go back and I had to say like Naruto, DBZ. I'm gonna talk about stuff that intrigues me as it intrigues me. Maybe it's only gonna intrigue me when I own it. I have a vested interest. You can make that complaint, but yeah, whatever. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like what I like and then don't really pay attention to anything else. Although I did order some of the Weiss Pixar boxes. I think those look really cool.
You shill.
Did
I
you
can't I can't believe you would pump something that you own, you monster. You disgust me. No.
straight to the moon with those?
I've looked at different things. Like honestly, Lorcana, depending on how Lorcana comes out, like my wife loves Disney. I like Disney. Big part of my childhood. I went to Disney a couple times. I went there once in adulthood with my wife. Like if Lorcana is accessible through my distributors to online retailers, I'll probably get into it to some extent. I'm not getting into the FOMO hype, crazy current promos that are out, and I'm not going to get into it if I have to buy it as a consumer.
Mhm.
At retail through like crazy secondary market prices on eBay. Like I'm only going to get into Lorcana if I can do it wholesale. I learned that with MetaZoo, honestly. I got into MetaZoo pretty deep at retail, at like market price before I got into partnership. And a lot of that stuff I bought like way too high. I got wrapped up into, I bought some of those sample cards, too expensive. Absolutely. Like I realized the mistake I made with MetaZoo, and if and when, like maybe I'll do a tiny bit of Lorcana gifts for my wife as a consumer, as a collector, no future value consideration. But I won't try to do business in Lorcana if I can't get into it wholesale. For
No,
sure.
it doesn't make sense that way. That's another one that I will get into. Even if I can't get it through distribution, um, I do want to buy some of those and just to open it and have fun, because Disney and Pixar, those are like the next two biggest things from my childhood, and I still really enjoy both of those. So I'm excited for both of those. While you're looking for the next question, Basic had a quick one. Should we be concerned with 90 days left before CollectCon Orlando? It's not yet officially advertised on their website. So last year, Orlando wasn't announced until shortly before Christmas. is when they announced all the 2022 CollectCon events. So I wouldn't be worried at all. I as far as I know, I've talked to them a little bit. What we know is going to happen, I would most likely shoot for that. It's not confirmed yet, but most likely shoot for that is what I'll say.
Yeah, I would not book any hotels. I would not book any flights, like based off the fact that they're not public. Like I would wait for them to formally say it on Instagram, whatever their channels are, the Collecticon USA website. That'll be updated with the dates when it's time. But yeah, I would not book like non-refundable flights or hotels based on that one weekend. That would be pretty risky. John asks, what high-end cards would you rather have than a 2001 Tropical Breeze? Personally, the 01 Breeze is my holy grail. To me, like I respect and I understand that the Illustrator, from like a dollar perspective, is the market's most valuable card. But to me, it's like the original tournament, 1997 Pikachu #1. The 3 is cool because the cool little chubby Pikachu, he didn't win, but he was like, he made mom and dad proud. He's got that trophy. He's holding up nice. But the 1 is the 1. The 1 won the tournament. I want the 97 #1. That's my grail. That's the most historic, a lot scarcer, like print quantity, than Illustrator as well. So that's it for me.
I really don't have any interest in trophy cards. I'm your typical stereotype. They're in Japanese. I can't read it. I didn't have those cards as a kid growing up. So for me, my grail card would be No Damage Ninetales would be like my realistic grail card. The PSA 10 of that one. But PSA 10 first edition base Charizard would be like my, if I had an unlimited bank account, that would be the first card that I go after. And that would be my biggest chase card.
Ancient Mew asked me if I use any oils in this beard. The beard, I'm less growing a beard and more stopping shaving. This is literally like, this is just a less maintenance thing. If and when it becomes more maintenance, it's gone. Like, I'm just doing this because it's the laziest way to interact with my facial hair, honestly. I'm not gonna do, like, yeah, I've heard people talking about beard oils and this and that. Like, I'm not gonna ever do anything different than the current hygiene routine I'm doing. And if and when it requires it, it goes. That's funny. It's honestly funny. Like, I've been talking with my wife about it some. Like, 32 years of my life, I never really like grew a beard. For 10 years, when I was a chemical engineer, I wasn't allowed to. I actually signed a document saying that I would go to work clean shaven every day because I had to wear a respirator. Not every day, but like anytime if an emergency happened, there's always a chance I had to put on a respirator and like shut down a process or like save people or like whatever. So I like, not really legally, but I had to be clean shaven, and I wasn't the greatest with that. I'd have a few days of stubble, but like, it's only been a few months of me growing a beard, and it's like, it's such this weird thing because like, it feels weird the thought that I'll ever shave it again and go, like, it feels so distant when I didn't have one. Looking at pictures of myself, we just did family pictures recently. My wife was like, "Are you gonna shave your beard for the family pictures?" And I'm just thinking about like my first live stream back to YouTube. That people would be like offended. People would be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you shaved it." Like, I think I got myself into something that is just gonna last a lifetime by necessity. Like, I'm not allowed to shave my beard ever again.
That was like, I just went to my cousin's wedding, and she made her dad shave for the wedding, and I haven't seen him shaven in a very, very long time. And when I saw him at the wedding, I had to do like a double take. I did not recognize him whatsoever.
Non-Pokemon thing, obviously, very weird spot we're in, but I kind of am feeling it. Isn't that weird that you like make someone shave or like change their hair, change their appearance for a wedding? I know some brides like. Yeah. Bridezilla is like a thing, and my wife was great for our wedding, and she was not a bridezilla, but some of them get bridezillas, and I'm sure there's men to not to be like that. I'm sure there's men that get really crazy about it, but like it's really weird when people like, oh, you need to look this specific way for my thing. Like that's weird too. uh, that's funny though.
Yes. And my cousin is 100% one of those people.
Yeah, a little bit of a bridezilla.
A lot of bit of a bridezilla. Everything had to be perfect.
Oh man. Catch 'em all condiments. Mr. Walrus is starting a new TCG. Oh, where'd it go? I clicked on the wrong one. I didn't mean to put that on the screen.
Don't get us back in the new TCG talk.
No. This one was funny.
We just got out of that rabbit hole.
Mr. Walrus deserves some screen time. He's funny. Wait, no, where'd it go? I'm starting a new TCG too. I'm not marketing, telling anyone, or selling it.
Oh, I did see that. That one did crack me up.
That's pretty good. I mean, come on. Like, yeah, I'm gonna start a brand. I have a beard now. I'm gonna start a brand new beard oil. I won't tell you the name. It's not available in any stores. I didn't give out any samples. There's no like customer. There's no like customer feedback that you can look at to see if you want to buy it. Yeah, if you're interested, do something. Maybe. Like, yeah, if you're interested, maybe I'll sell it off my front porch, but I probably can't have a sign. So yeah, sorry.
I don't want to post the address on YouTube.
Yeah. Have you guys been informed from your distributors about MSRP increases in Q1 of 2023? Your average player actually made a good point earlier too about some disincentive to reprint Evolving Skies is the fact that Pokemon has actually stated any pre-2023 product, even on reprints, will be offered to distributors at today's pricing. In Q1 of 2023, though, there's going to be a new MSRP. So why would Pokemon go back and print Evolving Skies for $144 retail when they can print Scarlet Violet for one? I don't even know what the new number is, but honestly, I don't even know. Have either of your distributors? They probably have. I'm bad with like reading emails sometimes. Like they've probably told us. I can't think specifically though.
Well, Mad Al doesn't communicate whatsoever.
Throwing the names out there.
My other distributor. There's my rant for the day. We'll talk about Mad Al for a little bit. Southern Hobby, the superior distributor. My rep has talked about pricing is going to increase in next year. He said he's trying to keep pricing. He said MSRP is going to be increasing next year, but he's trying to keep my price the same for booster boxes. He's not sure if it's going to happen though. So he said there might be a slight increase.
Part of that can happen. Like
that's as far as I know.
On our accounts, both of us are growing accounts, smaller accounts that pay a higher pricing. Like P Football Pete is more likely to feel the full MSRP increase than we are, because P Football Pete is paying the absolute smallest margin. If I had to guess, like that's a massive account. So like us, if we're paying $86.50, P Football Pete might be paying $75. He might go from $75 to $78. We might be able to hang out at $86.50 because we're already paying higher than like a lot of the really, really big accounts where it matters more. Like their profit margin is higher on us. So to be honest, I haven't had a direct conversation with mine. Some things are weird. Like Silver Tempest Release, I paid $82.50, but like some sets I'm paying $86.50. It's kind of a weird dynamic. I probably should like pay more attention to it, and I probably should like try to tighten the screws down on them a little bit, but I've not been great with that.
I think I paid $86.50 for Mad Al on Silver Tempest. I forget. I didn't look that closely.
I paid $82.50 for that. I got like 120 boxes. Or
see, I only got 50 from them. No, I think it was less. I think I got 30 from them.
You want to take Jesse's question?
Oh yeah, sure. This is the problem with timestamps.
Yeah.
Towards the end here, where our timestamps are going to be pretty long.
Yeah.
So Jesse, EX era regular holos as long-term play hold thoughts. They seem undervalued compared to the values of the packs you could pull them from. Oh, this is a tricky one. So on the one hand, I do think they are relatively cheap. And I was expecting we talked about this, and I think it was in the last one where like that whole mid-era stuff, not the pop on graded copies not increasing as much as I thought they would. So that maybe there's less of these cards out there than I initially thought. So on the one hand, I could see holos, reverse holos being a good long-term play just because they do seem relatively cheap, but at the same time, once you get outside Skyridge, holos are kind of irrelevant. EX era, you had the EX cards, you had the gold stars. Those are the cards that the majority of people want. They're not chasing these holos, reverse holos. That's more so like that's going deeper down the rabbit holes when you start getting into the holos and reverse holos from the EX era. So I can definitely see both sides of it. I can see it where those cards are undervalued compared to where they're at today, but I can also see them being properly valued compared to back a few years ago. They were basically worthless, and now they're 10, 15, 20 bucks a piece. I can definitely see both sides. I'm really not sure on that.
Part of it comes down to cost. If you're talking about buying PSA 10s, PSA 9s, I don't like a lot of the. I mean, some of the PSA 9s at auction are going like pretty cheap. Some of them are going at auction for what they go for raw near mint. Obviously, the lower you pay, the better. But one thing that I want to caution on in the second half of your question, they seem undervalued compared to the values of the packs you could pull them from. Opening packs is supposed to lose money. Oftentimes, I would be very careful saying, "Oh, EX era packs are $200, $300, whatever they are," because as Nick said, those weren't the chase. The chase was the EX. Yeah. The chase was the gold star. Those ones are worth more. Those ones justify more the pack price. But even them, like if you're talking PSA 8 condition, like look at WotC. Those are $500 heavy packs. I sell them all the time. The biggest hit is a win. Everything else is a loss. Pretty much, it's a gamble. And that gambler's premium, that big loss is always going to be there on sealed product. Like there's going to be like one or two ways to win, make money, basically pulling the biggest hit in the highest grade. Other than that, though, you lose money opening. So sometimes people think like, given what the sealed is, this price needs to be higher. That's a very dangerous thing because so much product has already been opened. All these mass printed English set cards. I mean, set cards, not even English set cards, but any set card. Like all these mass printed things, so much has already been opened. How much sealed is left and what it's worth is largely irrelevant to the singles prices.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that one.
A lot of people talking about their favorite sauces in chat, which is funny.
Look what you started.
Let's see. Ray's dreams are being haunted by not buying Lorcana promos because he was talked out of it. I didn't do the talking out of it. I don't know who did the talking out of it, but anytime something like that comes up, it's like people love fence sitting. I always say it could go way up. Umbreon, when we talked about Umbreon with Mason, I said in the interim it could do a lot of things, but long term I think it's going to be just a slow, steady decline. And Lorcana, I think a lot of the boom, a lot of the rise is already there. Could it rise a ton more? Absolutely. But I think like between now and TCG release, which is like a year maybe, it's probably going to be a slow, steady decline. But then, like honestly, like that's when I made my Kickstarter MetaZoo play. I bought Kickstarter, like MetaZoo Kickstarter boxes went to like almost 10K. And then there was a big gap between Kickstarter release and first edition Cryptid Nation release. And the boxes went from like several thousand down to 1,500. And I picked up a few because I thought like, hey, the set releases in a month. Like if you want to make a momentum play, if you want to make a timing the market play, if you want to like, it's a dangerous, risky thing. But honestly, if I had to speculate, if I had to give, if someone wants to take a really risky play, wait on Lorcana promos until a couple months before release, because they'll probably be a fair bit lower than today, because it's not like the current hype, stonk, latest, greatest thing. The pops will be higher, more will be out there. And then you might be able to pick up like a spike. But the issue is, if everyone knows that and everyone's thinking that, it might be built into the price and the spike might not come. That's where it gets dangerous. It gets dangerous with plays like that. I generally don't make plays like that. That's why I'm just not a huge fan of those. The Zard Hunter asks, how many tables are you getting in Orlando? I think I counted 22 total tables on the spreadsheet and saw someone ask if there were any available in the Discord.
We're doing, what's each section? 10 tables, 20 tables total.
Oh, so we're already overbooked? I haven't looked in that. I haven't looked at that in a while. I need to go take a look. I put that I'll take 1 to 2. I'm fine doing 1.
Some people said 1 to 2, 1 to 3. So we might be overbooked if everyone takes their maximum amount, but I think we'll be good.
I saw that message. I had a busy morning and I had this live stream to get ready for. I saw Java. I think it was Java Akuma actually asking. I'll look into it. I probably won't get to it tonight, but I'll try to look into it soon. Actually, I usually do work on Thursday nights because when the game's on, I usually work. So maybe I'll look into it tonight, Tyler, and get back to you.
Who's
but
Tyler?
yeah, I'm Java Akuma. I believe I got his name right. Sorry if I got your name wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
Nothing close to Tyler.
I'm pretty sure I'm right there, but I don't know if he's still in the chat, or I think he was in here earlier. But yeah, I'm totally cool with just taking 1 table. So I did half table in Denver. I'd like to do a full table, but I'll definitely come down from 2 if it means someone else getting in there that wants to be in there. But I'm sure like some people that booked 1, they might be down for splitting 2 as well. Like I'm sure we'll get a bunch of people in there.
I'm sure there's people who wanted to go to Orlando after Denver but won't be able to now. So we'll have to figure that out. Because we originally put that spreadsheet up. It was like a few days after Denver.
Yeah.
I'm sure stuff has changed by now.
I found DeGreen Shiz's alt account. Thoughts on Shadowless Diglets? Cyber Urchin's Pokemon must be DeGreen Shiz's alt.
That is definitely him. Shadowless in general is by far the greatest set of all time. That's my thoughts.
Let's see.
Boondock, first name Kuma, last name Java.
It is Tyler. I see him in chat. I see him in the live chat over there. Okay,
yes,
here we go.
He
Here we go. What the world needs to know. What's worse, buying MTG 30th packs or not putting the shopping cart? I'm gonna do a poll for this one if I can. we don't do polls enough. I forget about polls. So what's worse?
I don't even know how you do a poll. Is it the plus button?
Yeah, I've got it. Don't do it, or we'll have duplicate. We're gonna do a poll.
I didn't realize until we started. We're both signed in as PokeFlipz.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. What this is historic, isn't it? This is our first poll. What's worse?
Yes.
Buying MTG 30th or not putting away cart? Ask your community. Let's go. We're gonna find out once and for all. What's worse? And then
100% Magic. Not putting your shopping cart away is just efficiency. That's what it is.
I'm gonna actually let me see. I'm like an OBS whiz. I'm gonna put I'm gonna put the poll on the screen, and it grabs the wrong thing.
Now. I can't vote on my own poll. It's basically Nick versus Dan in the poll.
It's who do you whose side are you on?
The answer is, do you like Dan better or do you like me better?
Yeah, I'm gonna get the poll on the screen, and we're just gonna leave it there. That's funny. We need to do poll. We need engagement is good. There we go. It's
Yes.
right on the screen, up in the middle. Not putting away your cart damages people's property. Buying MTG 30th doesn't. This is me advocating for my position, advocating for my side. So this has turned into a debate. Not putting away a shopping cart harms people's property. It scratches, dents, dings, thousands of dollars of damage every day in parking, probably millions of dollars of damage a day in parking lots across the world. So please vote not putting away cart. Decide with me. Give your pitch, Nick.
Or do you want to support young high schoolers' future jobs as cart attendants
and as body shop workers?
Oh man.
Oh, it screws up every time I highlight a message. Nar on Ice asks,
Nick doesn't get a brick and mortar. He knows people will not return his shopping carts to spite him.
Yeah. Nar on Ice asks, does every show have those showcases you can rent? Every Collecticon does. They own those, they move those around to events. It's a great business for them because like they probably paid $100 a piece for those, and then they rent them out. Like I'm sure some amount will get damaged and they'll have to throw them away, replenish them. But yeah, they're getting like $40 per case per Collecticon, so they're all got to be paid for by now. It's a win-win. It's a win-win because like they are a great. It's nice to have them. I'm always gonna buy them when I have a table. And
when you think about it, they could. I hope they don't raise their pricing, but they could easily charge double that, and I would still pay it. Because when you think about it, to ship a display case down, I did that for the first Collecticon, and it was for one case. It was $40 to ship down and $40 to ship back. So you're looking at $80 in shipping. So you would easily pay more than $40 a case to rent them for the weekend.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for shipping. You don't have to worry about packing it, dropping it off, all that stuff. So yeah, that was a great idea on their part to do that.
Basic saying Nick's okay. We're gonna have a rant session again. Because I've actually heard this.
Is actually valid. I like it.
It's not that like okay. Basic. You know who says like like if you go to the store, yeah, just take milk, walk into the store with a soda in your hand, throw it across the aisles. Janitors need jobs. When you go to the bathroom in a public place, just like put it all over the floor and like janitors need jobs. No, that's not how it works. Oh man. It's just laziness. It's laziness. The one actually I honestly I don't agree with it. And I might get in trouble here. Rusty might be listening.
Uh-oh.
Rusty's wife did you see she tagged us? She tagged us on Instagram recently. I loved that story, yeah. I have kids. And I don't agree. Like I always My daughter rides in the cart. She's 2. My daughter rides in the cart. I've been out places with my son and my daughter. Carry them both. Park next to. Don't park at the front of the lot where you got to walk 6 aisles to go to the cart corral. Park in the back next to the cart corral, right next to it. And then I walk back holding my son's hand, my daughter in the cart. I take her out. I put him in the car. The cart, like I don't have to walk to put the cart back because it's right there. I put it right back. Like, I've heard the argument from moms, from parents, from whatever. I'm not going to risk my child's life walking 3 feet further in the parking lot. Like, okay, that's a little dramatic. That's just, I don't buy that argument. So, sorry, Mrs. Rusty, if you're listening, but I disagree for that argument. And that's as a parent with kids who puts his carts away every time. If and when there's some emergency, if a police car screams into the parking lot and like you don't know what's going on, okay, chuck your cart somewhere. I don't care. Get in the car and peel out of the parking lot. Save your kid. Like I understand that. If something crazy is going on, but like rain or sleet or snow, whatever it is, no, you put your cart away. That's me. That's me pitching. Here's the vote. You have to vote. Make your voice heard. The polls above me. That's my argument. Not putting away your sharpening cart. Oh, this is fun.
I like
something
basics.
to like.
Two presidential candidates here. One creates jobs, the other removes jobs.
Yeah. There's a lot of bad ways to be lazy and create jobs, like making a mess, not cleaning up after yourself. Like, yeah, just go to the food court and like go to the food court in the mall, and even though the garbage can's right there, just throw your stuff all over the floor. Your mall might only have 2 janitors. If you're a huge lazy slob, you can get them to hire 6 janitors. That's job security. That's jobs for our youth. Like, speed. Like, drive faster on the road. Drive faster on the roads. Like cause disturbances in your neighborhood so that they can hire more police for more jobs. Like, be a nuisance in your community. That's like the worst. That's such a bad take. That's weird. Word of the day.
You have used that word a lot today.
Oh man. Is there any more questions in chat, or is everyone just wilding out on the poll and everything?
Yeah, I didn't see any other questions. There's some funny comments in the chat though. I would say that was a successful end, and our poll's actually pretty close, a lot closer than I thought it would be.
But I have faith in our community. The right option is winning. Here we go. Here's a question from Ray. When you guys have a card, we're gonna go for like 10 more minutes, so we might not get to all the questions if more come in, but we will take this. When you guys have a card you're targeting, what is the typical number you want to buy and sell over time? Is there a set number, or is it kind of go by feel? Very much feel and cash flow for the day. Like, if I go into something, $1,000 is just like a round number. If I go into something, I feel like I want to throw $1,000 at it if I'm going to go into something. So if it's $100 card, it might be 10. If it's a $10 card, it might be 100. Greninja Gold Star, I didn't go that deep. I was buying them for like $250 each. I bought like 200. I put like $500, and then it went to like $1, and I bought like a couple hundred more. So I didn't quite put but $1,000 is just like a round number that it feels like that's where I end up for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's mainly feel, like what you said. For me, it's less about the it definitely has to do with the dollar amount too, but it's also like the OCD in me definitely controls how much I buy. Like, I bought a bunch of the Sword and Shield 50, Charizard V's, Stained Glass Birds, and I bought enough to fill 1 row of a BCW 5-row box. So for the Charizard V's, it was like 250, and then for the Stained Glass Birds, I don't know why, but you could hold more, so it was like 300. And then I've been buying Celebrations packs, and it's gotta fill a whole BCW box. Can't have a partial box filled.
Curbside pickup is a good argument too. Sorry, I'm catching up on the chat, and people are still talking about the cards. Curbside pickup exists. A delivery from the store exists too. Like, if you can't put your card away, if it's that dangerous for your kids, like, again, sorry, if it's that dangerous for your kids, any parents out there, deliver to, like, not everywhere probably has deliveries from Walmart. I live in the woods. My Walmart's 20 minutes away, and I'm shocked. They will actually deliver to me. If you have like Walmart Plus or whatever it's called, it's included. Or it's like $8 per delivery. I've actually done it a couple times. Delivery from Walmart. That's creating a job. That's creating that Walmart driver. I do DoorDash on occasion. That's creating a job. Like, there are ways to create jobs that aren't destructive to other people's property. Just to further, like,
you get in the whole you're destroying the environment, because then you're adding more people driving. It's not a good argument there.
No one in this chat can talk about destroying the environment. No one can take that moral high ground. No one can take that high horse, because like this is the most destructive hobby. All this plastic that we do, all this cracking, all this shipping pallets of
I was actually thinking about that this morning because I shipped out we purchased the Charizard UPCs. Or Pokemon shipped the Charizard UPCs to distributors. Distributors shipped them to us. We broke them down, shipped the cards to PSA. PSA sent the cards back to us. We sold those cards, sent them to PSA to get re-authenticated, and then PSA sent them to the buyers.
crazy. Invest in shipping companies.
That's what it comes down to. Yeah, that whole, I love the eBay authentication process and being able to do that as a seller. But to have to send like super modern cards that you literally just graded and listed, having to send those back to PSA is a little ridiculous. Obviously it'd be more work to change that policy than it's worth it, but I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, I've had that rant before. Remember the one with James and Cam when we were joking about like how much Cam asked you how much fuel one of those cargo ships uses, and we were guessing, and that's where the sorry Earth came from. That was
yeah. Yep.
I think I had a couple good spurts there, a couple good rants in there, but yeah, good stuff. We got like 5 minutes left. If we get another we don't have any questions in chat. If anyone has one, drop it quick. Probably gonna wrap up pretty soon though. 4:30 is quitting time. We got to put a firm end on it. Otherwise, we'll just go for like 10 hours. But yeah, next episode, I guess we'll do some of that closing stuff in the interim in case a question comes in. Next episode, it will not be on Thursday. It'll be on December 14th with Retrospecs. Let me link Retro's channel so people can go. If you want to check him out in the meantime, see if you want to watch the episode or not.
See if you want to watch or not.
Yeah.
We're gonna have an all-time low viewership.
Wait till you see the thumbnail. You will not be able to look at that thumbnail and not click it. Like, it's so good. Shout out to Ernesto. But yeah, Retrospecs will be on
very good.
December 14th. It'll be during the day, I believe he said. Nick and I are both open either during the day or the evening. I think Nick said he'll do during the day to stick with our normal routine, and that will be I said maybe nighttime. He does classes, I know, but I think he might be free during that day. So yeah, that'll be a fun one.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything upcoming on Pokenomics? We're having in like 2 weeks. We're having our 2 weeks from this Sunday, I believe. Is it the 11th or is it the 8th? I forget now if it's the 11th or... We will be announcing soon. Charlie Herlocker, though, is our guest for this month, our monthly Zoom. That's the biggest thing. Every week we have the office hours. Jake and I both do them separately. The Discord, all the past analytical things, but this month it's like a Q&A conversation thing, presentation with Charlie Herlocker. Anything?
That'll be a fun one.
Nick has his own Patreon, so I talked about mine. We got to let you talk about yours.
Yeah. I'll be doing a presentation on something in December for our Patreon with Pallet Town and Crystal Pokemon. Not exactly sure what it'll be, but you can look forward to something in December.
Durgreth asked, how do you justify what to pay yourself when running your own TCG business in comparison to reinvesting into your own business? There's two ways to take this question. One of them is actually like a legal standpoint, IRS wise. I'm an S corporation. I legally have to pay myself what they call a reasonable salary. Nick can't see me live. I'm doing air quotes. Very open for interpretation. I've decided what a reasonable salary is for my S corporation salary with my attorney, my accountant. I spoke with him. Like, I pay a certain number that is deemed a reasonable salary from that perspective. What I think more, you're talking about like less legally, less that way, S corp wise. I think you're just talking about like just generally. Probably has something to do, like Nick mentioned earlier, probably has something to do with your cost of living. Like, you obviously need to pay yourself enough to, I mean, if you're making 100K and your bills are 100K, you got to pay yourself everything. There's no room to invest in your business because you're spending it all. But if you're making 100K and you're only spending 30 to 50, how much of that you invest in traditional stuff versus how much you invest in the business, that's all a personal consideration. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is what your expenses are versus how much you want to just keep reinvesting and building the business and all that stuff. That's all I've got.
Yeah, I keep clicking out of the poll. I'm gonna formally end the poll, not putting away the cart one with 57%. Let me get rid of the poll up there.
You're close though. It wasn't as much of a landslide as I thought it was going to be.
Does anyone know a good place to buy V-Star Universe? I would be a little careful with the super hype sets, pre-order pricing. Like, you never know if it's going to get the reprint. You never know how much it's going to get. VMAX Climax, what that did out of the gate versus I picked up 100 boxes for like $45 a piece midsummer. And now it's back to like $100. So I would, Amalia, I don't know how to say it, but I would just be a little careful. eBay, like, there's probably a lot of places to buy it, but it's kind of stonky FOMO pricing. I would just be a little careful. Like, if you value it that, I would go for it if it's worth it to you, but know that reprints could come down the line and it could get more cheap. But yeah, I think that's everything.
Yeah, I would definitely wait on V-Star Universe. If you haven't already pre-ordered it, I would wait.
Mr. Walrus asks if I have a prenup. I don't. My wife and I both had very, very low net worths when we were met. Most of what we've done has been since we've been together. So no prenup. But yeah, that's everything for today. I think we covered. We'll get back to timestamps. We will get back to as I said, tomorrow this won't be up on Spotify. But 2 weeks from now, when we do the episode with Retro, I will have caught everything up in that 2-week span, and then I'll stay with it moving ahead. It'll be a day or two after my Woods internet. I gotta like strip the audio off the video, all that good stuff. But yeah, 2 weeks, Retrospects, December 14th. And we appreciate everyone watching.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out, everyone.